Tell me which university would offer simultaneously courses on conservatism and sexual diversity. That would be Renegade University. We have 2 webinars coming up at the end of June. First, we have the great Daniel McCarthy, one of the leading scholars on the history and philosophy of conservatism, classical conservatism, the real stuff. That's a webinar that's coming up in late June. Go to renegadeuniversity.com/courses to check that out. We also have the great sexologist Carol Queen teaching A World of Desires, Sexual Diversity in the Postmodern Age. This is going to blow up the heads of so many people in so many ways, in particular because it's being taught at the very same time that we're teaching classical conservatism. This is what Renegade University is about. We teach the things that the regular universities won't. So go to renegadeuniversity.com/courses to check those out and to enroll. Then the big event coming up in October, we have Renegade University in Texas, in the barbecue capital of Texas, which is Lockhart, which is just south of Austin, so you can stay in Austin. This is a weekend, October 8th to the 10th. We have a lineup that is blowing people away. It includes Scott Horton, Hotep Jesus, Cody Wilson, Deirdre McCluskey, and Jack the Perfume Nationalist, and me. For 3 days, on a 1-acre spread in Lockhart, walking distance from 3 world-famous barbecue joints and bars. Oh, it's going to be too much fun. I can't wait for this. Go to renegadeuniversity.com/Texas to get your tickets now. I can say this, there are right now only 4 VIP tickets left, so jump on that quickly. Or the general admission, which is an amazing deal. It's only $250 for all of Saturday and all of Sunday. You get to mix and mingle with those very special guests. You get to be a part of 6 different podcast recordings for Unregistered. This is going to be historic. I really mean that. And I can't wait for it, and I'm proud to be putting it on. So again, go to renegadeuniversity.com/Texas to get your tickets for the big event in October. And I will see you in class. This is the Unregistered podcast, and I'm Thaddeus Russell. This is a show about ideas, people, and behaviors that are considered inappropriate, out of bounds, or beyond the pale. The things you're not supposed to talk about if you're a school teacher, a college professor, a businessman, a politician, a parent, a neighbor, or even a podcast host. These are the things you're not supposed to say or even think if you're a good liberal, a good conservative, or a good citizen. Each week, I'll interview a person who has something bad to say. They might be a journalist or a professor. They might be a porn star or a drug dealer. They might just be an ordinary person with an ordinary job who doesn't care about the rules of polite society. I'm not interested in breaking the rules just to be a troublemaker. I'm interested in people who break the rules of conventional thought and to expand the scope of what is possible to say in our society. I'm interested in people who make me think. My guest this week grew up in Hollis, Queens, with members of RUN-DMC during the crack epidemic of the 1980s. He was suspected for 18 years of murdering Jam Master Jay. But that's not even close to the most interesting thing about this week's guest, as you'll soon see. This is my interview with Curtis Scoon. I am joined by the legendary, I think is a good word for you. Sure. I mean, you are a man of many legends. Definitely. The legendary Curtis Scoon from Washington, D.C. And we have so much to talk about because this person right here I'm talking to has had a life like very few others have and has been through more dramas than you'll see in movies. And he's also a filmmaker. But we just have so much to get into. I want to introduce you to the audience who might not know who you are. I think it's safe to say that there are very few African Americans who don't know your name, but there's a whole lot of white people who don't know your name. Does that make sense?
I don't think a whole lot of African Americans
Even
know
they?
my name.
Really?
Yeah, man. I don't think I'm that popular. I might be underestimating it, but people do run up on me in the supermarket and at the gas station. But
there you go. No, you're well known.
I guess I'm in denial.
I'm
in denial. Yeah.
Thank you for proving my point, Curtis. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, certainly. I mean, and the reason largely is because of the killing of Jam Master Jay of RUN-DMC. So I think the reason I found out about you, I didn't know about you till last year, was that last year there was finally indictments of two men were charged with the killing of Jam Master Jay in 2002 after 18 years. But you had been a person of interest. I don't know if you were ever formally called a suspect, but in a way it didn't.
Never.
Even more importantly, like in the world around you, there were all sorts of rumors. That's almost one of the legends, right? Is that I was talking about. A lot of people assumed you had something to do with it, if not being the actual trigger man, right?
Yeah.
For years.
They for a long time, for almost 20 years. I think almost it was 18 years.
18 years.
I live with that cloud over my head. And they say pressure break pipes, but it also make diamonds. The things that I was able to accomplish with that cloud over my head,
yes,
is nothing short of phenomenal, if I must say so myself.
I agree. And when did the authorities, I know the cops cleared you formally at some point, right? When was that?
I don't know if I was ever cleared. You see, in an unsolved murder case, you don't want to clear anybody.
Wow.
You can change focus, but you want to leave your options open. And I'm glad you brought that up, because people don't really understand how law enforcement works, right? And I've been in the system. I've created case law in New York by having a conviction and a trial overturned in the New York State Appellate Court. Anybody can look it up. I've had cases dismissed at the grand jury. I've won a case in a lineup that I requested. I've been through all different facets of it. And from my experience with law enforcement and the arrest procedures, investigative procedures, for the most part, and cops would disagree with me, but I think that they're under pressure to close cases.
Right.
And sometimes that pressure causes a rush to judgment. And when you're dealing with all kinds of shady and shisty people, you almost don't even care if you got the right guy or the wrong guy. It's like, this guy will do. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that the police would take an honor student and put them in jail, although people claim these things happen. That's not my experience. But in neighborhoods, the hood, like people talk about, right? I would say, from my experience, maybe 2 to 3% of the young males are the problems in that community, although the whole community ends up suffering because of that. But there's only 2 to 3%. I think those are the people that Hillary Clinton called super predators. You know what I mean? Yeah. And by definition, I guess when I was about 18 into my 20s, I probably would have fit that MO, but and once the police know they have a quote unquote super predator, it pretty much doesn't matter if they did this one or the other. We just getting bad guys off the street. And in the context of policing, it might be some kind of rationale to that, because guys in that bracket, they either got away with stuff or they definitely plan on doing stuff. You know what I mean? So it's not an exact science. I don't want to sound like I'm advocating for the police, because that's a bit ironic, but I get it, man. And I also think that people, right? Whatever you want to do in life, that's on you. But if you want to be a fucking criminal, man, be a goddamn criminal. Don't act like a victim when the life choices you made put you in certain situations. You got to man up and deal with that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I watch these guys, man. they chose to sell drugs and do all these other things. And when they get hit with that hammer across their head, man, they just like, it's this, it's that, it's racism. It's no, man, you made a fucking choice, man. Mm-hmm. We already know what the sentencing guidelines are about. We already know that 46% of the prison population are Black men. Mm-hmm. We already know that police profile, and if you have tattoos and dreads and all these things, or you ride around with midnight tint, blasting loud music, you're likely to get pulled. We know these things. Mm-hmm. So why do people still do it? Like, you know,
freedom.
If you're not trying to go to jail, that's fine for people who don't break the law. But I think lawbreakers, people who break the law for a living, they need to at least be aware of the laws that they're breaking. If you're going to be a criminal, be a fault. Let me tell you something, man. Look, I was never a criminal. I would never say that because I got no convictions, right?
Right.
Yeah, I'll go to my grave. I've never done anything. I don't.
You've never been you've never been in prison, right?
I've been arrested. I've spent time in jail.
Okay.
But I've never been convicted or done time.
Gotcha.
I've sat in jail until I got bailed out and things of that nature. But no, I've never done time, man. Mm-hmm. But where was I going before you said that, man?
Basically, you were saying that if you're going to be a criminal, be a fucking professional about it, and know the laws that you're breaking.
Yeah, look. I'll never admit to being involved in any illegal activity, but I read a book called WITSEC by Gerald Scher. I did this like 20 years ago. And it was the guy who designed a witness protection program, right? So why would I read that book? Was I thinking about going into the witness protection program? No. I wanted to learn how to identify people in the witness protection program. You understand what I'm saying?
Maybe. Wait, explain this. I might understand. Why did you want to know what they look like?
Well, because a lot of them, they just continue doing what they did before they got in trouble.
Oh, they're dangerous.
And they're in different cities and different places, and you can meet them, and they can gain your trust. But there's certain things you got to look for. So I read the book looking for clues, because I used to travel around a lot. I'll tell you something. I'm from New York, but when I met guys from New York and other states, it didn't mean anything to me. If I didn't know you from New York, it's like I don't know you here either. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You got no references, man. I can't check on you.
Right.
Just because we both from New York and we're in Atlanta, what does that mean? Nothing.
Right. Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah. So you were talking about the 2 to 3% that you estimate of young Black men who are really the problem, really the criminals. And you're saying it's that small a number, first of all.
Causing all the mayhem. And everybody gets the blame and carry the burden for that 2 to 3%. Yeah, right. For sure.
And so people know you're from Hollis, Queens. I mean, I think you were sometime you lived elsewhere, but like mostly Hollis, Queens is your
Hollis, Queens. Yeah, I went to PS 134.
Yep.
From first grade. From there, I went to Catholic school, St. Pascal Baylon. I went there with RUN-DMC, Darryl McDaniels, and Joseph Simmons. Those were my classmates. Those were my good friends from grades 2 to 8. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So you're really from the streets then? I mean, you're from, Hollis. Well, describe Hollis. I mean, I've heard you do this.
Hollis
at that time.
Hollis is a middle class. It was, Hollis, Queens, period, is where people from Brooklyn and Harlem moved to when they got a little bit of money. They buy a house, have a yard and stuff. I think the neighborhood, I believe Italians and Jews used to live in Queens before Blacks moved in. And I could tell because there were peach trees in the backyards that had grapes, the wine grapes. I had wine grapes in my backyard that the Italians had left there and stuff like that. And raspberries and all kinds of stuff like that. Pear trees, because those immigrants, they planted stuff like they did back in their countries and stuff,
Wow.
And then blacks came in. When people say from the streets, right, I don't like that term.
Okay.
Because to me, when you say you're from the street, it only means one thing to me. It means you got your money in the street, which means you indulge in illegal activity. But because of hip hop now, everybody says they come from the street because they lived in a rough neighborhood. But if you're not part of what made that neighborhood rough, you have no ownership with that, man. You're just a good kid or a good person going to work like most people are, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's what I aspire to be at this point in my life. A good person. I pay my taxes. Uncle Sam knows he gets a lot from me if he's watching. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, and that's it. But that small percentage of people who indulge in illegal activities, who create the problems. There are some other people who are like the drug users and so on and so forth. But the ones that's shooting and killing and fighting and all the other stuff, it's a very, very small percentage. Very, very small percentage, man. In my estimation, just from what I saw in the 80s. And the 80s was perhaps one of the most violent eras in urban America.
It was.
So I don't want to hear about Chicago today, because Chicago today was everywhere in the 80s.
That's right.
And worse.
Yep.
It's like I've pointed out several times to people, and it's not a boast, but New York City homicide rate peaked in 1991 with over 2,200 murders.
That's when I moved there.
That's like 6 murders a day for the entire year.
Yeah.
In one city.
It was insane.
That's insane, man.
Yeah.
And it still wasn't the murder capital, because you had places like DC and
Orleans.
You understand? Yes.
Yeah.
So the 80s was a really rough time, man. And when I hear people talk about they from the street, to me, I take it means you made your money in the street. You made your name in the street. If you lived in, let's say, East New York, Brooklyn, which has traditionally been like the murder capital in New York, between East New York and Brownsville, it doesn't mean you're a killer. If there are lots of killers around there, but if you're just a good kid, man, what are you talking about? You from the street? Yeah, you lived in East New York, but you don't know nothing and don't nobody know you, and that's a good thing.
All right.
Based on what's happening there.
All right, but one of the ways in which you're legendary is that you got on Twitter many years ago, and you started to tell stories on Twitter that were really honest about what you were doing in Hollis, during this time.
Read them carefully. I never had a gun in my hand. I never sold drugs. I was always just seeing things.
Okay.
I never incriminated myself in anything that could be prosecuted.
Okay.
I knew people. I was around people. I had intentions of doing things that never happened, and so on and so. I was very careful with my words, man. But I said just enough. That people who really live like that, they understood. There was one thing that I said in that story. I said, man, really, all it takes is 2 to 4 people to do anything in the street. And a guy from Florida, he hit me back and said on Twitter, he said, yo, man, you know what you're talking about. Because you see, like the rappers, they always talking about we deep, we got 30 people and all that. That's just a joke show. 30 people, it still break down to the same 2 to 3%. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. In any crowd, it's only going to be the 2 or 3%. In my life, I always chose to just be with the 2 or 3%. You understand what I'm saying? There was no fluff around me. So it might just be me and 2 other guys, but we would be 3 the hard way. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah,
I do. But
sure.
All right. So you describe Hollis as a black middle class place.
It was.
I thought, because I was, we're the same age basically, and of course, like all white boys my age, I was a huge Run-DMC fan, and I knew they were from Hollis, and I thought it was a middle class neighborhood, which I thought was kind of ironic. Although Run-DMC never, ever, ever portrayed themselves as like tough guys or gangsters or any of that shit, but nonetheless,
not in lyrics, but in image though.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, in a way, and they were the first
with the
hip-hop.
chains.
Yeah, they were. That's true. They were the first.
Godfather hat, the Michael Corleone Godfather hat,
Oh,
that was a street guy thing. They emulated the fashion and swag of the streets, but not lyrically though.
Yeah.
That came later with other artists.
Right. And I was just going to say, I mean, they were the first hip hop act to cross over in a major way with white audiences. They were the first major crossover hip hop success. Clearly, I mean, even more than Grandmaster Flash, right? I mean,
big time.
Yeah, I mean, their
they set the tone, man.
Yeah, their '84 album, Run-DMC, was like, I don't know what it sold, but it was everywhere. Like every white person I knew listened to that album, right? And all across the country. So they were humongous. But yeah, their lyrics, like most 80s lyrics in hip hop, were so different from now. They're party lyrics. They were fun, they were playful, they were funny, there was no talk. I don't think there was any talking of shootings and killings and death and all this stuff that they were surrounded by. But anyway, what I was getting at is the character of Hollis, Queens, when you were growing up there in the 80s and 90s or coming up. And you originally described it as a black middle class enclave, and I thought it was too. But then it's sounding like more and more.
Let me say working class. I should say working class, not middle class. Working class.
Yeah,
right?
those. Well, it's funny how Americans fuck with those terms, right? It's
man.
It's like, we're almost all of us are working class because we have to work to survive, right? That's most people, right? But then Americans don't like that term. Because I don't know why it sounds European or it sounds Marxist or
socialist,
something. Exactly. But it's true. Like, working class to me says so much more. Middle class can mean all kinds of things, right?
Yeah, middle class nowadays you could be 300,000 and be middle class, making that a year.
Or
or
you could be working at the CVS but pretending to be middle class, like culturally. Like you speak the way middle class people are supposed to speak. You behave the way people are supposed to.
Facts.
Right. Anyway, so back to Hollis, Queens. So and this is at the height of the crack epidemic, and we haven't mentioned that. That was the backdrop. That was the cause, I think, of the violence, the insane amount of violence that you described. So how violent, how rough was Hollis in the 80s and early 90s when you were there, when you were a young man doing all this stuff? I mean, compared to like East New York, Brownsville and stuff like that, right?
I don't think Hollis was as rough as East New York and Brownsville. When I say a neighborhood is rough, what I'm really saying is, what it really means is that the level of ignorance is high.
Okay. It's not necessarily about the violence, it's the ignorance. It's the lack of knowledge.
Yeah, because they'll in some neighborhoods they'll rob you for your sneakers.
Sure.
Your belt. See, those are the really, really rough neighborhoods where you can't have nothing because it takes so little for somebody to prey upon you. So that's what makes it rough. And you have to be very ignorant, in my opinion, to risk going to prison for taking somebody's belt or coat or sneakers. And I think there was a lot more of that going on in Brooklyn than in Queens. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
But the crack game changed everything.
Okay.
Because for one, the influx of money gave guys the resources to buy better weapons.
Exactly.
When I was
I keep saying this. The drug dealers, one of the main reasons we have so many bad guns that are used for bad purposes, is that drug dealers get money because drugs are illegal and they use that money to buy guns. And that's why they have the power they do.
To protect their cash cow.
Of course.
Because it's territorial. If guys find out you're making money over on 2/3 and Hollis, and they're like, man, they get money over there, they're going to come looking to see if they could take that from you. Yep. So you got to be able to protect it. So the drug money fueled the weapons trade in the streets.
Yep.
And also people are so easily influenced, not just street people or black people, but there was a high profile crime in my neighborhood where 2 Black Liberation Army guys shot 2 cops with 9mm. They shot one cop 15 times. Another one got shot like 10. One cop died, the other one lived. The 2 guys' name was James Dixon York and Anthony Laborde. That shooting happened about 4 blocks from my house. And prior to that, the gun of choice was like, if you could get one, was like a 44 Magnum, because Dirty Harry had one. You know, the pop culture influences so much. They like to say that it doesn't, but it does.
Oh yeah.
You know, and so after that, those shootings from the Black Liberation Army guys, everybody in the street wanted a 9mm. Prior to that, it was a 38, a 357, a sawed-off shotgun. But when they heard they shot the cop 15 times, and they talking about the 9mm, it was all over the news. Everybody wanted a 9mm. And I'll tell you something else. I know somebody personally, after Reagan got shot, and they saw the Secret Service agent pull out the Uzi pistol from his jacket. They wanted the Uzi pistol.
I remember that.
You understand what? Then the Uzi became like,
I remember that.
One of those.
I remember
and a lot of people don't even think about these things until they see it in film and on the news and so on and so forth. Again, we talk about the crack era. Our face set the goddamn crack era in the streets. Everybody wanted to be Tony Montana. We even had a guy in Queens named Montana who named himself. His name was Thomas Mickens. You know, look, he had stores all over Queens called Montanas.
Oh yeah.
Like, yo, the influence of pop culture, of mainstream media is undeniable. And I think at this age, with this level of maturity, I think it comes from the fact that a lot of people, they just don't know who they are, man. They're not in touch with themselves. Look, I mean, I've been influenced as well, but I was a little kid. I listened to the soundtrack to Superfly on an 8-track. Oh, I was like 8, 9 years old. I wanted to be that guy. That soundtrack, I didn't even see the movie at that point. Just listening to that soundtrack, it just captivated me. And I grew up wanting to be that guy in the movie. He was so cool.
You know about Superfly? You've watched the movie, right?
Yes.
So the thing about Superfly, he's this drug dealer in New York who lives the life, has all the women, has all the money, has the cars, the clothes, the furs, everything. And he ends up, and he's targeted by these corrupt cops. He defeats the cops and he leaves town. He gets away. That's what people forget about Superfly, but that doesn't happen in real life very often when you're a major drug dealer. But if you could get it
with everybody,
no, if you right? Well, I don't know. If you could get away with it, then of course I wanted to be Superfly too, because he got away. He never went to prison. Nothing bad happened to him.
Yeah, you know, it's funny you just broke it down. That's exactly how Superfly was too. Yo, I wanted to be that guy, man, and I was only 8 or 9 years old when I heard that soundtrack, man. Like, there's a lot of influence here, and I think in the name of profiteering, people just don't care, man. It's unfortunate how impressionable the bulk of people are, man. And we just throw stuff out there and they hold on to it and become a problem. And I think if we could influence people in that way, it can be used to influence them in another way, in a better way. I believe that a blessing and a curse are one and the same. The difference being in the application, you know? So if media and entertainment and what have you can influence people so negatively, there's definitely a way to influence them in a positive manner, but nobody does it.
Right, and that's what you do. That's what your career has been for decades now. But I want to get back to Hollis though. So let's go. I'm still not clear because
look, and I'm on no time limit, man. So you got me as long as you want. Man.
Oh wow!
All right,
I'm honored. But yeah, I'm still trying to get a sense of. I'm trying to get a sense of like what the streets in Hollis were like meaning,
I'm going to tell
meaning
you
the actual streets, like what it was like to walk down. So, but let me just say to the audience, I've heard you say that you personally knew, if not close friends, but you personally knew about 30 people who were murdered during that era. Is that right?
I know of, but they all weren't from Hollis.
Okay.
And,
okay.
I said I pull that number out my head. It's probably a lot more, man. So many people died. I forget about people until somebody bring their name up, and I'll be like, man. And the thing is,
God damn,
they weren't only one person who got killed was close to me. Juan Thomas Melendez, you know what I mean? And that was in December of 1987. He's the only person that I ever rolled with that I would say got killed on my watch, you know, but and it wasn't my fault that he got killed, but you know, that's somebody that was with me. He actually got killed, not even in New York City. He got killed in Huntington, Long Island. Yeah.
Over what?
Over drugs. I mean, while he was dead, they robbed him and went in his pockets and took his drugs or whatever he had and all that. Yeah. It's just cold, man. It's a cold world, bro. But Hollis, back to Hollis. Yeah. Hollis was like, you know, it was typical 80s, man. The guys would be out there hanging on the block, Pumas, Adidas, Kangols, gold chains, boom boxes, the whole, you know what I mean? Like,
I do.
Kind of like how they, like, you know, like how they recreate the movie scenes. It was kind of like that. But you had different crews in Hollis. You had guys that would sell weed, guys that would sell coke. Back then they were selling coke, not so much crack in the early days, right? We had one crew that went to Times Square and they did the 3-card Monty. We call it the red card crew. That was Jazzy, Dynamite, Mike Lewis, and somebody else. And they'd be in Times Square and they would get the tourists with the 3-card Monty, find the red card, find the red.
I remember that.
Yeah. Like there's a whole crew from Hollis that used to go out there and kill them.
That was a big deal.
The tourists.
Yeah, that was big in the 80s in New York.
What? Greed is a hell of a thing. And then I used to take pictures. I used to go out to Times Square with the little Polaroid camera, one for 3, 2 for 5, with the wicker chair and all that. I was about 16 at the time. We talking about the early 80s, you know, when I was in high school. Yeah, because I'm really like a street kid. And when I say that, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm selling drugs. It means I'm in the streets wheeling and dealing, man. I've been taking pictures and all that stuff, man. Hustling in the street, always been my thing. Yeah, I'm a natural salesman, you know. So, yeah, but that was Hollis. And then, of course, back then, kind of like today, but a little different. The young boys are very territorial in the inner city. And this has been going on. It's not just a black thing. This is in Brooklyn with the Italians way back when they were in East New York and Brownsville before they moved to Howard Beach and all them other places. You know, certain neighborhoods fight against certain neighborhoods, certain schools fight against certain schools. And it's like I often try to explain to people what it really is. It's just like a rite of passage. It's young boys trying to prove their manhood, their masculinity, their valor, their loyalty, and all these things. So they put themselves in situations where they can be tested. And sometimes it's dangerous and sometimes people really get hurt. But it's like a natural thing with males, especially when there's a lot of testosterone and what have you. Nowadays, it has gone to like something else. But back then when we were kids, there was a lot of fights, like up at Andrew Jackson. Hollis had beef with everybody. South Jamaica.
That's the high school. That's high school, right?
Yeah, Andrew Jackson High School. Yes, right. That's the high school that I think LL he posed in front of on his first album cover.
Oh, really?
I think. Oh yeah, well, there's photos because he went to Jackson. He was a student at Andrew Jackson when he dropped his first album, his first single, "I Need a Beat."
That's right. So we got Run-DMC and LL Cool J.
Yeah.
That's a lot in one high school at the same time too.
Run went to Jackson, DMC went to Rice, and Jay went to Jackson.
Jackson, yeah.
As a matter of fact, yeah, for sure.
Wow.
But it's like, you know, when you was actually there, it didn't seem that special. But looking back, I could see how people would be like, man. That was something else right then and there, you know. Yeah, but it was a lot of fighting and stuff, and like those young boy stuff, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, but then as we all got a little older, and the money became a little more serious, things started to change, man. Yeah, things started to change, and you know, I don't think I would never call myself a violent person, right? But if anything, I would say I was somewhat indifferent to violence. It didn't really turn me on, but what I knew was there was violent people around me. and they had to understand that I spoke their language. And that was a matter of my own survival and well-being. And the other part of my survival is I learned to be an asset to everyone around me, not a liability. Because when you're an asset, and I practice that to this day, not in the same manner, but when you're an asset, people will protect you. They'll look out for you because it serves their self-interest, you know? So you got to have some value. If you don't add no value, man, you might as well stay the fuck away, man. You might be just getting in the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, if you don't add no value, I mean, that's just my outlook, man. You know, look.
Now, I mean, your like intelligence and way with words would have been an asset, but you're a big dude, right? Aren't you like quite tall?
Yeah, I'm 6'4". I don't know what I am right now. I think I'm about I'd like to think I'm 245. I'm probably closer to 250, but
so back then you would have been 6'4", what? Like,
I wasn't that big, man. I might have been about 200.
Still a big guy, like, right? Useful.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, actually at 6'4", 200, I might have been more dangerous than I am at 6'4", 250.
Faster.
You know? Like, reflexes and everything. Yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking, like, as an asset, I mean, were you I know you don't want to implicate yourself, but like,
listen, I don't, I was not known as a guy that would rough people up. I did do it a couple of times, but that came later.
Okay.
I was always known as a thinker.
Yeah.
Like, people would come to me with their court cases, and I'd help them navigate it, tell them what to do, and so on and so forth. And
wow.
As a matter of fact, all the trouble that I've been in, I told my lawyers how we were going to handle it. Wow. And I never studied law. Yeah, for sure.
Wow. And you have a case that's in the, what'd you say? It's in the record. In
the appellate court. Yeah, I overturned one conviction. I went to trial on 6B felonies in 1986. I was in part AP6 in Long Island City. The judge was Judge Pearl Appleman. And my lawyer was David Lewis Cohen, who was one of the biggest lawyers in Queens at the time. Him and Ronald Rubenstein. And yes. And
I want to talk about ethnicity too. The whole the black Jewish relationship. That's a
that tandem is incredible if you know how to work it right.
And people don't realize it because they usually don't see the Jewish guy. You know, they don't know the Jewish guy is there, but he's always there, and like he's behind a lot of stuff. But it's a huge productive tandem. Yeah.
Listen, man, it's productive when both people are sharp and respect each other. But we're gonna get into that though, because I've dealt with a lot of Jews. I'm very familiar with them. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So anyway, man, that was my case.
Okay.
We went to trial. It was four of us. One guy who had another case. They offered him a cop out in the middle of trial. He didn't want to take the cop out, but it was a sweet cop out. They offered him 1 to 3. I told him to take the cop out. He said, all right, I'll take the cop out. Then y'all could blame me since I'm already pleading guilty. And I said, no, we're not going to do that. You just take the 1 to 3 and go ahead. And with the lawyers, they filed a motion to have for a new trial or to have it dismissed. I can't remember, because if the jury sees 4 people and then later on they only see 3, they could assume that one guy pled guilty. And if he was guilty, that means the other 3 are guilty. So it doesn't really reflect well on the remaining 3, right? Mm-hmm. So that was the argument, not in those exact words, but legally, that was the argument made to the judge. And I'll never forget this judge. That's why I remember her name to this day. She told my attorney, she said, the law guarantees you a fair trial, not a perfect one. Motion denied.
Whoa. Nice.
But I had already thought in advance to give my lawyer ammunition So I applied to Hampton University.
Oh, yeah.
Leading up to the trial. And I got accepted. I mean, I knew I would get accepted. And when we blew trial, he argued for me to remain out on bail pending appeal because I was going to school and I would be leaving New York. So I wouldn't be in the area doing the same thing. And the judge agreed to it. So that worked out for me. You know what I mean? But I was thinking, see, lawyers take your money, but after a while, unless they really have some kind of attachment to the case for whatever reason, it's because they need to make the win to make themselves look good. It has to be something personal to them. Yo, man, it's just like a puppy mill, man. They take the money and you go to jail or you go free and it's whatever, man. It's just a job. So a lot of us, right? Because we're young, I'm not going to say because we're Black, because we're young and we don't have that experience in life, we think if we pay this big Jew lawyer or something, we're going to walk. You know what I'm saying? You got to give him something to work with, man. And half the times they don't tell them the truth. You know, they swear they didn't do nothing and they did. Like, he knows you're full of shit, but he'll take your money. He'll argue the bullshit you said. And then nobody will believe it because he didn't even believe it.
Right.
And you go to jail. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
And that's how it worked.
Paloma Verde CBD has come a long way since its opening early last year when they had a brick and mortar store ready to go in San Antonio, but the lockdowns quashed that dream. They went online, they got the word out through me, and unregistered listeners, I am so proud to say, have been buying Paloma Verde products at a rate that is unbelievable, and a rate that has allowed Carlos and Vanessa Abelar, who own Paloma Verde, to expand and innovate and improve their company. There's a brand new website at palomaverdecbd.com where if you use your discount code RENEGADE, you get 25% off every single product in the store. It is an unprecedented deal for CBD. Carlos and Vanessa have also introduced new products because of unregistered listeners and their intense continued support. They have a new sleep bundle. They have a melatonin and CBD hybrid that I love, my girlfriend loves, my girlfriend's daughter is now loving too. Check that out. There is, of course, the unregistered combo pack, which is my 3 favorite OG items at Paloma Verde. That's their gummies, which are so delicious. I get a new order from Carlos every week. I eat them so fast. The soft gels, which have 25 milligrams of good old CBD in each one, which countless people across the world now consider to be the most important medicine that they use. It also includes my favorite thing, their fast-acting, high-potency tincture. You put some drops under your tongue and the anxiety and the insomnia just slip away. So go to palomaverdecbd.com, check out that beautiful new website. Get yourself some really good deals, that 25% off every product, and the unregistered combo pack is 33% off, which makes it the most popular product in their store, but there's so much to explore. So again, go to palomaverdecbd.com, use that discount code RENEGADE, get some great deals, make your body better. I think you're going to be happier, and I thank you. So we're the same age, so that's like what, early 20s? You were in your mid 20s?
I was 21 when I went on trial, yes.
Damn, so 21. So you're doing pretty high level legal analysis just to save yourself. And you're helping other people, you're saying, all the time with legal cases. So you have something in your mind that's like very amenable to legal thinking. Did you ever think about going to law school and doing that?
I did when I went to Hampton. Political science was my my major, but then I caught a case in DC that summer because I met some guys in Hampton who was from Baltimore and DC, and you know, hey man, old habits die hard. I'll tell you what it is though, right? I don't think it's so much I have a legal mind. What I really have is a tactical mind, a strategic mind. I have a military mind. I can identify weaknesses and strengths in everything, in people, in businesses. It doesn't matter. You show it to me, and I know where the weak point is. I know how to enter. You know what I mean? Like I know where to attack, and that's It's innate with me, and it has served me well in life.
But it also requires a very analytical mind to begin to
Yes,
start
yes,
with before
yes.
you get to before you discover the strategy.
Yes,
You can
yes,
break it all down, and that's also what you do.
yes. Very analytical. There you go. That's it for sure. I analyze everything, man.
Yeah,
I can watch the weather, and you know what I mean. Like, yeah, and I can't help it. I do it second nature. I don't even think about it.
Do you ever want to turn it off? Like, I have the same thing. It's like it's like this big machine. It's always like grinding shit in front of me. Like I
can't turn it off, man. I don't know how.
I just get tired of it.
What I do is I try to direct it to things that could improve my quality of life and those around me, man. Yeah. Okay. But I can't turn it. I don't know how to turn it off.
Okay. Now, I am not trying to pigeonhole you or identify you as a criminal, Curtis, when I ask this question.
Go ahead, man.
But I got to ask this.
Go ahead.
I got to ask two things. Well, first of all, did you consider going to law school? Sounded like you might have.
You know, my daughter's a lawyer.
Is she really? There you go.
Yes.
She
graduated.
You do have a fucking legal mind. You passed it down too. Come on.
Yeah, she graduated from American University. Yeah.
Did she?
She works for the federal government. As a matter of fact.
Oh well. That's okay. Nobody's perfect. So you did or did not consider it as a career ever?
I thought about it briefly. It's tough, man. When you embark on a certain lifestyle, and then you pick up obligations to people, commitments. One of my best attributes is that I'm loyal, right? My MO is I run in when everybody else run out. See, the people who really know me, they hold me in high regard. You know, I'll give you an example. A guy from Hollis, Quasim Fells. His mother was killed in 1988 in one of the most notorious killings of that year, because she's the mother of 9. She was holding a newborn. The house was shot up. She got shot in her neck and died, and the baby died in her arms. Right? Yeah, and his story is in the book Queens Reign Supreme that I put together with Ethan Brown, who is Jewish, by the way.
Right.
And
there's the tandem.
Yeah. And he just came home December 23rd after doing 27 years. And I had been in touch with him the whole time, supporting him financially and helping him with his legal fight. Wow. And he overturned his convictions, and that's how he got home.
What?
Yeah, bro.
27.
It wasn't my legal work, though. That was his legal work. I provided the financial support, for him to reach out to different people and do different things and get the minutes and all these different things and private investigators and blah, blah, blah. He had multiple life sentences plus 30 years. And I told him one day, I said, look, man, I can't be your pen pal for life, man. Because I felt like he was taking the time too much in stride. He would call me and it would sound like he's in the Bahamas or something, and I was the one in prison. So it didn't faze him, and you know what I mean? And listen, he's been in nothing. For the first 25 years, he was in maximum security prisons. Oh my God. Not FCIs, not Lowe's, not camps. He was in gladiator school. It was nothing to him. You understand what I'm saying? Like, yeah. And I told him one day, and keep in mind, when this was going on, I had the legal cloud over my head with Jam Master Jay. And I'm listening to him, and I'm just like, look, man, I can't be your pen pal for the rest of your life, bro. We got to get you up out of there. You want pictures of girls? Fuck the pictures. Come out here and see the real girls. You know what I mean? Like, let's do it. He called me in 2016 on my birthday, September 5th. I was 52, and I was in Miami walking on Ocean, and he said, bruh, we did it. I said, did what? He said, I got a date. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
What a feeling.
He could.
What a feeling.
Wow, yo, I'm getting chills right now talking about how I remember that day. And see, those are the kind of things, to me, being there for him, being there for all my people, man. I don't care about the headlines and people knowing who I am and how popular I am. The people that really know me, oh man, they revere me, man. I work for that. You know, my reputation, man, is my credit score in life, and it's A1. And it doesn't matter how many people never heard of me. I don't care. They don't really matter to me. The people that matter to me know that when they can't count on nobody else, they can count on me.
All right.
And I take pride in that.
That's okay. So I'm gonna real briefly go in a totally crazy direction.
Then go ahead, man. Go wherever you want. I'm all yours. Let's do it, bro.
Then I want to get back to your criminal past.
Go ahead.
Maybe it wasn't, but anyway. So what you just said right there about caring a lot about the people in your actual life who you actually know and helping them and then your happiness is largely sounds like derived from having helped the people you actually know.
Yes.
Okay. Now, have you noticed, and we'll get into and by the way, another way in which you're legendary, which we haven't really touched on yet, is that you have politics you're not supposed to have. Right? You're not playing the game correctly for a black man in 2021 America, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But I think this is one of the ways in which you're very different from how you're supposed to be as a black political person. The left, and this includes BLM, this includes all of it. I come from the left. My parents were socialists. I started out as a socialist, Marxist. I've been all through that.
So did Thomas Sowell. He was a Marxist in his 20s.
Oh yeah. But one of the things that I hated about it and still hate about it is that, and this is partly because my mother was like this, they care, you may have noticed, oh my God, do they care about people they've never met and never will know ever, right? They care about like the people, or they care about George Floyd, who's in Minneapolis, like miles away, or they care about the people in Africa, or they care about the people in some other country. Oh my God, they care. They cry, they scream, they wail, they devote their lives to this shit. But in my experience, having been around people on the left, generally, they don't give a fuck about the people right next to them. And they they get their gratification from marching in the streets for people they will never meet. You get gratification, and I'm trying to do this myself now. I'm trying to change my ways, get gratification from helping people who I directly know.
Yeah.
And that's just a big, I don't know. When you said that, it's all these lights went off in my head about that. Really. And I think that's like a fundamental difference between like left-wing thinking, and I'm not going to say right-wing thinking. I'm just going to say everybody else's thinking. It's not just conservatives or right-wing. It's normal people do that, right? But when you have left-wing politics in you, and I know you have a lot to say about this, we'll get into it later, but like when you have those left-wing politics, that's what you're trained to do, is to care about like these abstract people you don't even know, right? I just think it's a healthier way to live, the way what you've chosen, much healthier.
You know, when I speaking of that and the politics, and me not having politics I'm supposed to have. Mm-hmm. Now you hear about my friend Kwa, and I got other friends, and I stand with them, but I don't give a shit about prison reform, police reform, none of that.
What do you mean you don't give a shit?
I think I would like to see more focus placed on young kids before they get in trouble. Okay. I would like to treat the community as a triage center. And we deal with the people who need the least help first, so we can have more hands on deck to help the ones who need the most help. And man, and if we don't get to them, let God sort it out, man, because as long as I didn't put you in that situation, I don't feel responsible for you personally, right? What my thing is, when I look at the black community, right? And I believe by helping the Black community, I'm helping America, because so much talk about the Black community is driving national politics. Okay.
Yep.
So when I look at the Black community, my thing is like, I saw Kaepernick was giving suits to people to go on job interviews. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, they got a suit, but they need a skill. They need to know how to conduct themselves in an interview. Are you going to get, you're just giving them a suit. What are they going to do with that damn suit? You know, it sounds good on the surface, but when you scratch beneath the surface, it's just it's just some bullshit, man. And a lot of liberalism, that's what it is. A lot of symbolic gestures. And I found myself doing it because I've heard other people do it. With my business in DC, I got an outpatient mental health facility, which I won't name. And we've given away school supplies, turkeys at Thanksgiving. Man, I've seen people go down the block and sell the shit we gave them, man. Like, it doesn't help, man. You know, and it's not their fault because they needed more than what we gave them. But a lot of this symbolic offerings is to make the people doing it feel good. Like, I'm not a bad person. I tried. You didn't do shit. You took the easy way, because the real work means you really got to get involved, man. It's not like you show up with toys for tots and turkeys at Thanksgiving, and you got to do some real shit, man. And people are always looking for the easy out where they can get the most credit. Good PR and grandstanding, peacocking, as they call it.
Okay,
you know, there's a lot of that going on.
Yeah, so you raised Thomas Sowell, so let's do, and I am going to get back to my questions
Man,
about you.
Go ahead, man.
No, it's good. No, this is more interesting right now. So, and in a sense, this is like the most important question about everything here, which is, so I'm known in part for like my tremendous interest in Black culture, Black history. I've studied it. I've written about it. That's kind of one of my big things. So I'm a big admirer of what's called Black culture, which, you know, even that category is a little funky. Like, what is that exactly? But I also recognize that there's been a lot of bad shit in Black culture, a lot of violence, needless violence, a lot of the stuff that you've been talking about, what you might call knucklehead behavior, whatever. So, you know, the conservatives, the Thomas Sowells, they come in and they say, and I respect this a lot, but I'm not totally there. They say we've got to change Black culture, right? We got to get these men to become committed to being fathers and husbands and to working, and we got to get the drugs, you know, change Black culture. That's the answer. And it might be like if we made all Black people into Barack Obama, which is really the white liberals' dream, right? That's what they want.
Oh man,
of course they want.
You know,
that.
I can't stand that guy. But go ahead.
Yeah, me neither. But that's what you know that, right? Every white liberal and every Black liberal too wants every Black person to be just like Barack and Michelle, right? So I'm asking you, Curtis Scoon, as someone who comes directly out of that culture, but has been a critic of it, a relentless critic of it. But you also love, I assume, sounds like, from listening to you for a long time now, you love parts of the culture too. So I'm asking you, like,
I love my people, man. I do.
Right.
But I'm not going to co-sign the bullshit that they do. I'm going to tell them this is some bullshit and you need to stop.
So
nobody wants to do that because they don't have the balls, because they're not real leaders. What they are, they're professional apologists. They make excuses for the dysfunction and the poor choices and the poor values. And that's the only way they connect with those people, because their life is so removed. They live in their gated communities, or they're making their money and spend most of their time in white spaces with white people. And the only way they can connect with the people they seek to represent, or I should say misrepresent, is to harp on things like police brutality and racism, because that's the only connector for them. I'm Black just like you. LeBron James is worth, I don't know, a couple $100 million, maybe $500 million.
Oh, yeah.
And he's talking about he's scared of police.
Oh, yeah.
The fucking police would ask for an autograph and take a picture with him.
Bow
He's
down.
full of shit. You know what I mean?
Of course. Of course.
Yo, he's full of shit. But this is the only way he could sell himself to black people. Like, listen, man, me and you, we the same. We are not the same, LeBron. And you're in a better position and you should be doing something with it other than promoting bullshit to us. And that's what the black elite does.
And you know what LeBron and all the black celebrities who do that are saying is that to be black means being a victim. It means being oppressed. It means suffering under white supremacy. That's what that means. That's what so they equate blackness with victimhood, which to me, I don't know about you, but that's a death sentence for any people, any culture. If they start to believe that they are like essentially always victims, that's going to kill them in terms of what it does to their soul.
Listen, man, you got to go to my site, ScoonTV.com. I have the town hall section. I write in the section as well. I have other journalists. I've written 3 pieces in there that you will find very informative because it's about politics I shouldn't have. Mm-hmm. Don't call me African American, number one. Number 2, it was called on activists, control opposition, and Black Lives Matter.
Yep.
And this is all like with references throughout. And the last one I wrote was, Are You Not Entertained? How celebrity came to define Black leadership. Boom. And these are profound pieces. And you go in my website to the town hall and you read those things. And it's got to be scaring the shit out of these people, man. Because what you said is correct. It's framing blackness as victimhood, but it's even more sinister than that, right? Mm. These guys, their only value to that white liberal establishment, in my opinion, and this is from Obama on down, is their ability to mislead the Black community politically, socially, or whatever. Mm-hmm. The term I use, and if it's politically incorrect, hey, shoot me. They're Negro wranglers. That's what their job is. So they have that money and they have those titles and they get those documentaries and they got those shows on Netflix and they get those big money book deals and the shop is for that specific purpose. You see, they are propped up just to do that. Mm-hmm. And that's how they get the Black community to follow suit and vote for candidates and ideologies and ideas that's against their best interests. You got a Mark Lamont Hill who's talking about Palestine and this, that, the other. Look, I don't have anything against Palestinians. I don't have anything against Israelis. Shit, I don't live there.
Right.
I got my own issues I'm dealing with here. Why are you pushing that to the forefront for me?
Exactly.
You see, but that's because the people who's behind him. That's why I don't like when people, I think Mark Lamont Hill is a scumbag, but I don't think he's anti-Semitic. And he's been getting called that by people who don't really understand what's going on. He's a tool. He's a tool. He's advocating this globalist agenda, which has to be anti-Zionist because they want a world with no borders. And Israel having its own identity is in the way. So they need Israel to go. In 2012, Henry Kissinger was quoted. You can find the quote in an interview. He said in 10 years, Israel would be no more. Kissinger is a Jew, right?
Yep.
Bernie Sanders, he's a Jew. He was just trying to stop the sale of weapons to Israel. So this isn't really about anti-Semitism. This is about globalism. And there's no need for national sovereignty anymore, be it Israel or America. You see, we got to really understand what the fight is because we keep mislabeling it and getting caught up in our petty biases. Yeah, Mark Lamont Hill is an anti-Semite. Black people don't like Jews and blah, blah, blah. Man, it's deeper than all of that shit. Mark Lamont Hill is a pawn. He's a boot-licking pawn. He doesn't have a mind to be anti anything. He does what he's told. And if you really want to stop him, you need to find out who's paying them and stop them. He's nothing. And that goes for LeBron and all of them. Nobody cares about you slam dunking a basketball. They make people famous so they can leverage the influence that they created. There's a reason why somebody like me would not be on the cover of magazines and getting guest features on CNN and MSNBC. And that's why nobody knows me, because I am not a fucking tool, man. And again, while it's not racism per se, racism is another tool used by these people with their agendas. So it's like they will use race, a black face like a LeBron, a DeRay McKesson, of Henry Louis Gates, all of them. And those guys, when you see them, even when they're feuding with each other, it's because they competing. I can do it better, boss. Watch, I got all these people behind me. This is what you need. They fight with each other over the scraps, man. And I'm just not that guy, man. I say what I say. I already understood and accept that most people, I'm not going to say most people, everybody's not going to make it.
And what they want, all of them, as far as I can tell, most of all, is approval by white institutions. They want to be approved by white cable news networks.
But that's how you get the popularity. That's how you get validated, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they do. And they get the Pulitzer Prize. I mean, all these things created by white people over the years, not just white people, the very elite white people, and all these black,
that's right.
And all the black intellectuals, all the black political people, all they want is, and the Oscars, right? Like, that's the most important thing to so many black people. Like, what the fuck? Like, the Oscars were, who do you think that is? Like, that God created the Oscars? It's Hollywood people who sell their movies. It's nuts.
Listen, man, I figured out that all of these awards are just some bullshit. From the Nobel Peace Prize on down, it's a game.
Oh yeah.
They create these awards. They make everybody come out. They put it on TV, and they give it to the person who they plan to utilize to mislead people.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'll say this: although it's not racism, any black person that I see endorsed by the establishment, gaining unmitigated access, and constantly talking about nothing but race relations, I don't trust that motherfucker. He's on the take.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. All right, back to 1987.
All right, let's do
it.
Let's go.
I will not let you escape your youth. I'm sorry. No, I
was a wild boy. I've broken legs, arms.
Oh,
I hospitalized a guy one time. Yeah, I did all of that.
Oh, okay.
Look. Yeah, a guy. At one time, a guy he bothered my little brother while I was out of town. When I got to town, I wasn't living in New York. They thought I was, and I was on my way to New York at that time. His misfortune, and it was just me. But he was in the hospital for 4 days, and to this day, he swears he got jumped. Nobody touched him but me. You know what I mean? So but that he was messing with my family. And why did I do it? Because it wasn't in New York. I had to understand the consequences and repercussions for certain things. You see, nothing sets an example like a public execution. And I'm using that as a metaphor, by the way.
Yes,
you understand what I'm saying? Like,
most definitely.
And one thing I understand is the proper use of force and the timing of it. So again, I'm not a bad guy, right? But even in negotiations with governments and world powers, it's not about your wordplay. It's the fact that the other person understands that you have the ability to do some things that they don't want done. That's what makes them pay attention. Not your fucking college degrees, not none of that shit. You know what I mean? And me being in the streets, I learned early what the world is all about. I got a microcosm. I got an education in it. All these peaceniks and all this nonsense, they sleep easy because they are men and some women
Mm-hmm.
who are willing to do the things they couldn't dream of. You know, and I know I'm sounding like Jack Nicholson in that movie. You want the truth, you can't handle the truth. But that is the reality. You know what I mean? That is the reality. And if you don't have it in you to do those things, well, that's okay. Just stay out the way and let the people who do what they do, because they're the ones that keep you safe. And that's just how I carry it, man. If it comes to defending my family, man, yo, there's nothing that I won't do.
Of course.
Defending my loved ones, there's nothing that I won't do. And it's not even like it's going to take a lot, like to get me to do it. Are you kidding me?
Of course.
Like, so I mind my business. I don't bother nobody, and nobody better bother me, man. And that's how I've been. And I learned that since then. You know, the world is run by gangsters in the true sense of the word. And what a gangster is to me is the use or threat of violence to impose your will.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why the Iranians want the bomb if they don't have it already. I think they might have it, because if they didn't have something, they'd have been got rid of them. You know what I mean? They're thorn in everybody's side, but there's something keeping everybody at bay. We may not know it. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Look, man, Saddam didn't have the bomb. He showed that he didn't have anything, and next thing they went in there and had him swinging from a rope.
Yep.
Look, look, you got to be able to inflict damage. Even if you lose, the other person has to know that I might crush him, but I might be so wounded after I'm finished that somebody else will come knock me off. So I'm gonna leave him alone. And last but not least, when I was a kid and I'd get locked up, you'd be in the bullpens. And the bullpens is when they put everybody who got arrested that night or whatever. And you know, some guys, man, knowing that they're not getting out, they'll start their bullshit in the bullpens, right? And my saying was always, if there's 21 people in the bullpen, I'm the 22nd motherfucker you want to fuck with, man. Ooh. You understand what I'm saying? Like this. Yeah, I ain't no rapper, so I ain't making this shit up off the top of my head. This is literally how I thought. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And you got to have that kind of attitude, man. You just do. You know, and people who know, they can feel it. Not that they would be scared, but no, who wants to get dethroned? People run around looking for easy marks, not tough fights out here, you know?
Yeah. You said, I heard you say that for you, the best defense was a good offense.
Always.
Which meant what?
I'm a bang, bro. I'm going to fire the first and last shot. You goddamn right. Yeah. Okay. I ain't waiting.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring it to you.
Okay.
All day.
So in 1987, in this court case in Long Island City with the Jewish judge who helped you out,
and the Jewish lawyers,
and you basically were victorious in. What were you charged with?
I was charged with, let me get it straight now: attempt murder, kidnapping, robbery 1, 2, and 3, and felonious assault.
My God.
I got convicted of the felonious assault. Yeah. Okay. I got convicted of the felonious assault only because the hospital records didn't lie. You know, the witness was lying. The guy who suffered this attack, you know, he was also a confidential informant, by the way.
Wow.
You know, he was a CI, yeah. And he was making up stuff. He had been arrested before for squeezing a woman's butt on the subway. They cross-examined him about that. He said she was walking funny and he squeezed her. So, you know, a sexual deviant type of dude, man. Like somebody that needed his ass kicked. When he got his head cracked, he had that coming for a long time. But unfortunately, you know, he called the police and we got charged. While the jury was deliberating, they offered me 5 years probation and I didn't take it. And when Cohen told me, hey, man, they want to offer you 5 years probation, no jail time. What do you think? I told him, I said, look, man, I didn't pay you all the money I paid you to leave with a conviction. Yeah. I was 21. I didn't even tell my mom, nobody, that I was on trial. You see, I to me, in all honesty, yo, man, I was a man since I was a kid. You dig?
Yes.
So
yes.
Yeah, I told them that, and they came back with the verdict. I couldn't believe they convicted me on the testimony of this scumbag. You know what I mean? But I had a backup plan, which was I went to apply to college, and and then on the appellate court, the appellate case, it was overturned. Yeah, it was overturned in the appellate court. They were going to take us back to trial, but the guy, doing his bullshit, he ended up getting killed. Had nothing to do with me because they convicted somebody for it, a Jamaican dude. Mm-hmm. And so that was the end of that. And it got, and that's it. You can pull the case and read the details. And there's a lot of conflicting testimony. But again, me and my crew, we weren't like the most pristine gentlemen in the neighborhood. So we're not going to get any breaks even when we deserve it. You know what I mean? Like, and also to me, that's part for the course, man. If you want to be a tough guy, man, then be a goddamn tough guy and stop whining, man. Take that shit on the chin and keep moving, man. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I'm a very good law-abiding citizen currently, but at that age, at 21, 35 years ago, oh man, listen, man. In 1985, at 20 years old, they took my palm prints, my fingerprints, palm prints, footprints, and recorded my vocal pattern and sent it to the FBI database at 20 years old, bro. So, I'm still here too, man. I'm still here.
and you never did time.
And I never did time. When I did my movie, Black, White, and Blue, Michael Dowd, the former cop who did time from the 75th precinct or whatever, he told me when we sat down and talked, he said, because even though he's a crooked cop, like he's looking at me, he says, You're the one who got away.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, I'm sitting there with Michael Dowd, me and him at a diner in Hell's Kitchen, and we talking, and he says, "Yeah, we're talking," but he's just looking at me. He said, "You're the one who got away."
A famously crooked cop says this to you.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
all right,
man.
So, all right, that's 87. You go to Hampton University, which some people might not know is a famous historically Black university in Virginia. And you were hanging out with a whole different set of people, right? This is like people think, oh, the Black community, Black people, they all think the same. Well, you like found out that you got introduced to the real Black middle class.
Oh, yeah,
right?
Man.
And upper class.
There's some Black people out here, man, that they're doing pretty good, man. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know they existed.
Right.
Because, I listen to the people on TV. They got me thinking that Black people everywhere is like struggling.
Right.
And I met people at Hampton, their grandparents were college graduates, man. Like, their great-grandparents, like, my mom didn't even graduate high school. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, yeah, and their grandparents was like, and they came from good homes, had businesses, and so on and so forth, man. And it expanded my network, because one thing about me being analytical like I am, I see value in people, right? And even though they weren't similar to the people that I was most accustomed to being around, unlike guys like me, I didn't look down on them and judge them for that. I accept people for who they are, man. Like, I don't expect everybody to be like me or to have had the same experiences as me. In fact, I want people with different experiences, because they could be beneficial in places that I cannot be, that I can't apply myself, man. It's to me, right? Capitalism, when I hear people talk about capitalism, they talk about individualism, right? But I don't see it like that. I find that the most successful ethnic groups practice some form of collectivism. They kind of like, they work together, whether it be the Asians or the Jews or whoever. It doesn't mean that everybody's involved, but they form a unit within their unit, man, and they rock out.
Like how about the Hasidic Jews in Brooklyn, right? That's exactly. The most classic example, right?
Come on, man. So my thing is like, I learned that, to me, again, this is just my life philosophy. The only real success is a collective success, because individually you're just going to go but so far. And even if you win, after you're gone, everything that you acquired is going back to the house, man, because there's nobody to help protect it, guide it. Your kids, they not you. You understand what I'm saying? There's no, you got to build your network and build your legacy so you can have something that lasts after you're gone. And it's not just a matter of assigning some kind of monetary value to it. We're talking about something that's going to last and continue to do for those that come after you what it did for you. You got to put a system in place. And that's a collective effort, man. That's not a one-man show.
Yeah. You know? I'm thinking about, man, now that I've made myself think about the Hasidim in Brooklyn and how they've, not just there, but in many places around the world.
The Chinese in Chinatown, man.
Yeah, sure. So I'm like, I was talking about assimilation earlier, about like my worry about changing Black culture and getting rid of the good stuff in Black culture so that Black people can prosper more. But like the Hasidim haven't compromised one goddamn bit on their culture. They are exactly the same as they were millennia ago. That's the whole point, right? And they're just fine. They're doing great as a community inside of America, right?
Listen, man.
It can't be done.
I went to school in Brooklyn. I used to see them. Some of the women shave their head bald and wear wigs because they got a whole lot of different practices that most people would be like, what's going on here, right? But one thing they have in common, all these ethnic groups, whether it be the Hasidim or the Asians or the Latinos or whatever, is that the patriarchy is in place.
Oh,
they have a family unit. You understand? Regardless of race or religion, all successful communities have a patriarchy. And what has happened to the Black community is that with integration and the civil rights movement, our family structure started being first deconstructed and then redefined to the point now it's a family's anything you want it to be. You understand what I'm saying? Yep. First they said like they needed more Black men in the household. Now they don't want the man in the household. They want to be the man. And they're getting all of this from their white, liberal overseers, sponsors,
social workers.
Everything, that's right.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And the problem, I don't like the word Black culture. As far as I'm concerned, there is no Black culture. Right. All Black culture is a variation of some form of Western European culture, from our language to this shirt I'm wearing, to to the education, even to the food. What they call soul food was nothing but the scraps, the pig guts and intestines, hog maws and chitlins and the airs, the part that the master didn't want to eat. That's not your culture, bro. You understand what I'm saying? And then when they say hip hop is Black culture, hip hop is a fucking business. It's not a culture. Hip hop is what sells. And furthermore, anytime you have a culture that's being determined by people not of the culture, then it ain't your culture. You understand? Mm-hmm. Hip hop has been redefined. It's the commercialization of Black dysfunction, not Black culture.
Wow.
The gang culture, the twerking, the selling drugs, it is Black dysfunction that has been commercialized and popularized to the point, and they sanitize it by saying, you know what, this is Black culture. No, the fuck it's not. It's not Black culture. And they find enough Black sellouts to parrot that line to give the Lucian Grangers and Elliot Grangers and Jimmy Iovine's and Leo Cohen's and Brian Turner's and Doug Morris's and all the rest of them the cover they need to rape and pillage the Black community.
You're talking about executives, major executives in hip hop, right?
Scumbags, all of them.
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I go on record and say these things because you know what? I don't want shit they got to offer. Fuck them and their money. I don't care. Keep your fucking money. I'll make it where nobody want to take that money from you. That's my mission right now. To shed light on all of it, where a motherfucker be scared to play that role. Because what happens in our community, in the Black community, is that not only are sellouts not punished, they're fucking celebrated. How sick is that? I refuse to go to the African American Museum because 90% of the people in there are just controlled tools built up for that reason, to mislead Black people. There's a reason why Dr. King said before his death that he feared that he had integrated his people into a burning house. You know you did, motherfucker. That's what you did. Ooh. Now you're having second thoughts. You understand? Like, yeah, this is what it is, man. This is what the fuck it is. Yeah, and that's how I feel. That's my politics right now. Look.
Wow. I didn't know King said that. I didn't know King.
Yeah, he said that.
I love that.
He said that. He said he feared that he integrated his people into a burning house. Yes, he did. You know, a story about Jackie Robinson people don't know. See, because they don't know. The Negro Leagues, right? Mm-hmm. They were trying to integrate with Major League Baseball as one. Mm-hmm. Major League Baseball didn't want that. So they started cherry picking
the best players.
And Jackie Robinson was the one who started the whole shit because it's like he crossed the line. But of course, they make movies about him and they celebrate him. Anybody that the white power structure celebrate that's Black, I don't trust their ass, man, because it means that they serve that person. They serve that power structure. They served an agenda. Oh, these liberals, man, they don't really care nothing about us helping Black people if it doesn't benefit them. They don't give a damn. They need us to vote a certain way so they can pass the Equality Act, which is going to give access to the civil rights benefits that was given to Black people in the Civil Rights Act of 1964 to transgenders and white men who identify as women. And they got all these Black women played right now thinking it's about them. And they don't realize that once everything is finalized, those jobs, diversity jobs that they get, where they check 2 boxes, they're a woman and Black. Now you're going to have white men talking about, I'm a Black woman, and nobody can say anything because of the Equality Act. And they're just undermining themselves. What I see consistently in the Black community, and you got to read my last article about Are You Not Entertained? Because I started with the genesis of Richard Allen and the African Methodist Episcopal Church and went right down to the Boule and to civil rights movement to current day. I outlined the whole thing with examples, man. And what has happened is at every step of the way, right, there has been white involvement in the Black liberation movement.
Yep.
And that means there has been white direction. Yep. Because there's what has been going on in this country
100%.
that a lot of people don't understand is that there's been power struggles within the white community. And you got one group of whites that think one way and one think the other way. And then one of those parties decided they would enlist the services of the Black community to help them in their fight against the other white people.
Precisely.
And they've been manipulating Black people, using us as conscripts and cannon fodder ever since, with the help of the boot-licking Negro wranglers, the point people that they reward to mislead us because we trust them through our blind racial allegiance. We see somebody who's Black and we say, Yeah, man, he's one of us. No, the fuck he isn't.
Curtis Scoon, how many times have you been called a coon?
Oh man, listen, to my face, never. Look.
And I won't be the first, I'll tell you that much.
Yo, look, to my face, never. But here's the thing, right? Let's just look at the term coon. You got that term came about from white men hunting runaway slaves at night. And they would call them coons because with the darkness in the white of their eyes, it was like going coon hunting, and they're bringing the dogs and all that. And a lot of these black people that use this antebellum, derogatory type of descriptors, what they really are deep down inside is that they want to be that white person talking to another black like that. Wow. You see, there's something going on with them inside of them that they would imitate a racist and a bigot. That's bigot language there. A coon, like this is what they called runaway slaves when they were looking for them at nighttime. Because back then there's no street lights, it's just the stars and the moon, which I imagine was a lot brighter than it is today, but still. And they're going through all those wooded areas with the dogs and everything. And the slave is running around. They say, we're going to go get us a coon. And here comes some black person who's pretending to be pro-black, acting like somebody like me is anti-black. And they're using the same terminology. You see, they really want to be that white man on the horse that was hunting a runaway slave. This is who they are. You know what I mean? Yo, man, I just, I don't want to say it, but I just, the thing about the 80s, even though all those people were getting killed, what that level of violence did was it kept suckers honest. It kept them in their sucker fucking boxes. You understand what I'm saying? They knew better than to say certain things because they weren't built a certain way. But now everybody gets away with everything. Hey, It's just social media, But
Right.
why are you taking it so serious for? That there's no kind of boundaries there or anything. People don't know their place anymore.
There's no consequences. And
no consequences. There you go. Thank you.
And especially for black people from the mainstream, because the mainstream has to treat black people like sacred deities now, right? We've made black people into these gods, these who must be protected, who are gods, but they're also always victims. It's this bizarre construction by the media and white people. But yeah,
I don't feel sorry for them. That's their own doing.
Oh yeah,
they created that monster, so fuck them. They need to deal with it. My concern primarily is that these black people, like Jamel Hill and all the others,
right?
They are creations of white people.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, you hit on something that's really important and very
They are creations of white people. Black people didn't create them. White people created them.
Well, you've been saying for a long time something that's really important and people don't get: the language and discourse and way of thinking and ideas and policy proposals of the official BLM, Black Lives Matter leadership, when they have organizations.
The Congressional Black Caucus, same thing.
CBC, yeah. Especially for Black Lives Matter, though, and I know this because I come from this place, every fucking word comes from a college campus. Everything comes from a university, usually an elite one, too. They do not come from Hollis, Queens.
Nah.
Those ideas are not in any street, even white streets. Those are in university. Those are elite, wealthy, traditionally totally white, like the ruling class ideas is what they are spouting. Yet they pretend to be, of the people. And then also, and I know you're all over this too, you've made this also a really important point, like, and Hotep Jesus has too, others, that right away, and I think this is what pissed you off, right? You saw them like smuggling in all these ideas that had nothing to do or very little to do with Black experience as you understand it. Like, trans issues, gay LGBT issues, right? All the and international relations, critiquing the nuclear family, which, you know, there might even be some decent things in there that I would agree with, but this was a protest about cops killing Black people. And then all of a sudden it became about all these other things, right?
Facts.
And that's what pissed you off, right? Isn't it?
Correct.
Okay.
Look, misrepresentation. Mark Lamar Hill. I think I'm gonna write something about him. I got to put him in a body bag, figuratively, of course.
Yeah.
Right? Like, yeah, look,
careful.
Yeah, look.
My God.
Look, he's he promotes that men can get pregnant. I don't know anybody Black who believes that bullshit. That's not our thinking. He promotes men can have menstruation. That's not us, man. Like, and this guy is a professor at Temple.
Yeah.
You ever notice that these Black professors that's always on TV, they never work at HBCUs?
That's what I'm saying. Oh, thank you.
Have you ever noticed that?
Only
why don't they work at an HBCU? Because their boss has influence at Temple, at Princeton, at Harvard, and so on and so forth. Yeah. Like, that's part of it. Like, I get on them hard, but I want white people who see them as a problem to understand that they're really more my problem than they're your problem. You can get to the people that's above them. And that's who your focus should be. Let me deal with these motherfuckers, and you cut off the goddamn purse strings from over their head. And together, we'll fix this goddamn problem. Both of us can't be looking at low-hanging fruit. You understand what I'm saying? Like, because really in this thing, they're really the low-hanging fruit. But they're closer to me, though, and people listening. I see people I know listening to these people, man. Like, yo, not so much about the men can get pregnant shit, but Black people, they worried about Palestine. They don't even know that the word Palestine came from the Romans when they renamed Judea after the Bar Kokhba revolt and all that. They don't know these things, man. I don't even know why I know them. You understand what I'm saying? Like, yo, they don't know these things. You know, it's like, they don't know that before Israel, that it was the British that controlled Palestine. And before the British, it was the Ottomans. They don't know these things. They think Palestine was a country that the Palestinians had, and the Brits just came, the Israelis just came and took it. It was given to the Israelis and they worked it out with the British and MI6 or MI5 or whatever was around at that time. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, look, it's hard communicating to low-informed people. I'm not going to say low intellect. They just don't know, man. They just don't know. And at one time I didn't know, but I took the time to know. And one thing I know is when certain people tell me go left, I need to go right. That's one thing I really understand, you know. And one of my greater fears is that low-informed white people will buy into this racial divide and then turn on low-informed Black people, all while being manipulated by these people up here.
Why would they turn on the low-informed Black people? Because
they're being indoctrinated just like us. They're being told that Black people are the problem. And look at what these Black people are doing. They're rioting in 110 cities, and George Floyd, and they think all of us are like what they see on TV.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
This indoctrination is a two-way street. It's not just on us. It's a different set of indoctrination tactics being used on white people, but they're being indoctrinated nonetheless. They're going to end up, a lot of them who aren't really thinking and understand, are going to end up thinking Black people are the problem. And Black people are just being misrepresented by hand-picked Negro wranglers who get to speak on CNN and MSNBC and all these other outlets to act like they represent us, and we don't even really identify with them. Not most of us, anyway. Listen.
Yeah.
I can break it down like this. The Black community, like all other communities, is not a monolith, man. And when you start indicting people simply because of the way they look, you're gonna be legitimately victimizing some innocent people. Mm-hmm. Know your target, man. Know who you're going after. I know who I'm going after. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm not attacking random people. I'll give you an example. The LA riots in 92, Rodney King riots. Mm-hmm. Those guys, right? They felt over there, Florence and Normandy, they felt like they was doing something to get back at the police. They pulled Reginald Denny out of his truck and almost killed that man. And he probably was a good person. Cool. Don't mean nobody. I mean, what did that? Know your target. You see, they lazy. If you're really violent, I'm not advocating violence. You knew the cops' names. Why don't you find out where they live? I mean, again, I'm not advocating anything, but like, if you're really about that work, man, go find the real problem that bothered you and take it out on them. For all this shit going on, George Zimmerman is still walking around. Mm-hmm. Nobody has done anything to George Zimmerman in Florida. And Florida is always in the news for shootings and crimes and dreadheads and tattoos. And nobody said, you know what, my life is a bust. I'm going out. Let me add some purpose to my life before I crash and burn anyway. Where's this Zimmerman guy? Nobody. Like, no. Look, you get what I'm saying?
Direct action.
Get the right people, man.
That's
all. That's my message to Black, white, and everybody. If you just can't be mad at white people. You just can't be mad at Black people. You just can't be mad at Asians. Figure out who you're really mad at and take it up with them. If you got the balls.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying? Like, if you got the balls, man.
Instead of making it into a national or international political issue.
And
right?
Something that people are putting gas on, because when one group attack innocent people in another group, either way, it causes people to circle the wagons and rally to their side. Mm-hmm. And you don't want that. And really, you really don't want that if you're Black. Yeah. Because to me, and I must go hard as they come, I already know that in a race war in America, Black people don't stand a chance, man.
Of course not.
Why provoke it?
Of course
Just use your fucking head, man. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, look, use your fucking head. Man, do not let emotions supersede intelligence. And that's what happens a lot. And there needs to be more people saying the things that I say out there, because there's too many people like fucking Mark Lamar Hill, Jamel Hill, and all of these people that are just fanning the flames and stoking emotions and getting all these really harmless people worked up. Because trust me, man, the Black people who would really do some damage, they ain't paying attention to them people. They trying to get some money, man. You know what I mean? Like, they ain't got no. It's all these fucking lames working each other up, man. Like, yo, are you totally kidding me? Shit.
And when you said the thing about like, there's no HBCU people ever on MSNBC or CNN, like that just clicked with me. I've been well aware of the Black intelligentsia for a while, and I know they're all at Princeton and Harvard and Columbia. Yeah,
and Georgetown and everything else. Yeah,
we need to start calling out. This needs to be asked. Why in God's name, right? Because you love Black people so much, MSNBC, CNN. Why on earth do you never, ever, I've never seen this, ever interview a professor from Howard or Spelman or Morehouse or Hampton? They're never there.
I told you I see the weaknesses in everybody's game, bro.
Think about that. Like, HBCUs, you would think these people who are just in love with Black people, they would have at least one professor, like my friend Daryl Stott, who teaches at Howard. Have him on. He will blow them all up because he thinks like you. He doesn't think in the box, you know?
You see what I'm saying? Look, man, those Black professors that work at those PWIs, right? they might cut their risk if they was told they had to go work at an HBCU, man.
I wonder, because they will get paid less. That's the thing.
They'd get paid less, and for them it wouldn't be as prestigious.
And the prestige, right?
The prestige more than anything. You see, the thing with the Black elite is that they want nothing more than to find acceptance among white people.
White approval. Yeah.
Yeah, and they will do anything. They will sacrifice the rest of us. Like, yo, man, I got this. What you need done, boss? I got it. Yeah. And then, yo, man, they love, never mind all that racial talk that come out their mouth. They love white people. They love white people more than anything. They love white people more than they love themselves. They love a certain type of white people, though. Yeah. You understand? They don't like the kind that wore MAGA hats. You see, like I broke it down in my article, right? Again, I got to reference it because you got to read it. The Black elite, what people don't really realize is that the Black elite are often the bastard offspring of the white elite going back to slavery. There's a family right here in Northern Virginia, the Syphax family, and they can trace their roots to Martha Washington. Her grandson, George Washington Custis, had a child with his house slave. I think her name was Annie Carter. And that child was Marie Custis. And she married her father's slave. She was a slave for her father as well, but she married a slave, Charles Syphax. And do you know George Washington Custis gave her freedom and her husband his freedom on their wedding day and gave them 15 acres of land.
There it is.
From a parcel that he gave to his other daughter who married Robert E. Lee. And so this Black elite, and that land is where Arlington Cemetery is right now. Wow. He owned that land over there, right? Wow. Listen, man, the Black elite, they have white blood in them.
Sure.
They're like the bastard offspring of these wealthy white people going way back then. That's why so many of the Black elite are always light-skinned with the curly hair and all that. They're mixed. And they talk Black, but they think white. And they think they're better, not just than the average Black people, but they think they're better than average white people as well. And when they're talking bad about white people, they're really talking bad about average whites. Because what they really think, they want their birthright. Like, listen, man, I know I wasn't a part of the formal family, but we related. Thomas Jefferson, he had Sally Hemings and had kids with her.
Yep.
Like, you understand? She was a slave. She was 14 years old, and he had kids with her. And of course, he made sure they was all right. Yo, they got generational wealth. By the turn of the 20th century, there was Black millionaires, man.
Yep.
There was the Black millionaires, and a lot of white people didn't have that kind of money. Like when they say white, it seems like you would think all white people are doing good. Mm-hmm. This is not the case. You understand what I'm saying? Like many of them are struggling too. I would say probably most of them. It's getting tough for everybody right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And as it's getting tougher, nobody want to hear about you griping when they got their own fucking gripes. And that got nothing to do with race. They were like, listen, buddy, you better suck it up because I'm dealing with my shit over here. I get it, man. You understand? But a lot of people don't because they listen to people like, the talking heads on TV and so on and so forth. And like I said, if you trace their genealogy, much of the Black elite going back to the early 20th century and the formation of the Boule, the Black Secret Society, Sigma Pi Phi, which was modeled after Skull and Bones, and nothing but Black doctors and lawyers and all of that. And the Boule is a Greek term for the advisors to the king, was the lower house of the Senate in ancient Greece. And you better believe in America, the only king they're advising is a white king. And only advice a white king needs from Black advisors is how to manipulate these Black people that we're going to make sure you're in control over. And W.E.B. Du Bois, he called it the talented 10th. And they make sure that 10% of the Black community is taken care of at the expense of the 90%. Mm-hmm. And therein lies the problem while we are stuck in this perpetual poverty and cycle of stagnation, man. And that's what's happening.
black people, black
Yes.
elites seeking above all else admission into elite white institutions.
Yes. And they'll never get it.
Tell me who is a greater promoter of white supremacy than those black elites? Because that's all they're saying is,
absolutely.
All they're saying is what's important in the world is what these white people have created. Things like the Oscars and Harvard University and all these jobs, right? That's white supremacy.
They
internalized white supremacy.
Listen, man, they subscribe to it, man. And they're mad. I think they don't like the part of them that's black. They don't. You gotta look at this, right? If we had black doctors, lawyers, now they even talking about there's no black team ownership. We had a bunch of black teams, but y'all didn't like that. Y'all wanted the white teams.
That's right.
We had a black league. Y'all didn't want that.
Right.
Y'all wanted Major League Baseball. You wasn't happy just watching your own people. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that's perfect.
Look, man, the rest of us weren't good enough for them. After they rose to the top of us, they was like, man, listen, we got more money than most white people. Why can't we be over there too? They wanted a seat at the proverbial table, man. And in the process of trying to get that, what they did was they integrated our economic infrastructure and nothing else. They undermined their own wealth. They undermined it. They went from being the bosses in the black community to being foot soldiers for corporate America and everything else.
Yeah.
You got to understand how dumb you got to be to demote yourself in that manner.
Right.
See, I'll give you an example, right? There used to be so many black entrepreneurs. Segregation had black schools. There were more black teachers, more black principals, all of that.
Businesses.
Yeah, everything. As soon as integration came, the number of black principals went down, black teachers, black male teachers, so on and so forth. Yo, I'm not saying that integration shouldn't have happened, right? But I think integration should have been something that would have been a matter of choice, not legislation. I'll be honest with you, I don't want to live in an all-white neighborhood or an all-black neighborhood. I like diversity. I like to come outside and see different types of people. I feel comfortable in that environment, because I think sometimes when numbers, and it's not a black thing, it's just a human thing. When their numbers become too large, they sometimes become too comfortable. So when you have some diversity, people kind of police themselves because they understand that everybody around here is not like me and they're just not automatically going to gravitate to me. So I'm going to be on my best behavior. That's my take on a diverse neighborhood. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Somebody else may see things differently. It's fine. But I like to come outside and see all different kinds of people in my neighborhood. I literally have nothing against anyone, bro. I don't.
That's the way I think too.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I take comfort in seeing different groups of people. And I don't want to say balance like we're doing a quota. We only got 5 here, so not. It needs to be organic. And I think I live in a neighborhood like that right now, and I can tell you, it's beautiful. And we speak to each other, like, you know what I mean? There's no loud music because everybody thinks that everyone likes loud music. They know there's people here that don't like loud music. If everybody looked the same way, they may assume, and fuck it, we all go party. No, man. Like, listen. Right. I love it, man. I love it. But integration, man, integrating our economic infrastructure weaken the black community. And what I was about to tell you is that I have a friend. His name is Curtis Malone, right? He started the AAU program called DC Assault. In 2012 or 13, he was arrested. He sent numerous players to the NBA. Unfortunately, he was involved with drugs or whatever. They say he was funding his program with that, right? Okay, cool. So, well, not cool, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, he calls me from prison and he said, yo, Scoon, man. I said, what's happening? He said, yo, my daughter needs a job. Because I'm a business owner and an employer, it was no, I said, yo, send her over. She started working for me when she was 18. That was about 8 years ago. Today, she's my office manager.
Wow.
Not because she's my friend's daughter, but because she did such a great job. You understand what I'm saying? And the point of that is we don't have those options like that. My friend in prison, because he knows me, called me and said, my daughter needs a job. I said, send her over. If I was to call any one of those black elite, they would send my kid to interview with somebody with a recommendation, but they couldn't guarantee a job. His daughter didn't need a resume or nothing. Send her over. I got her. You understand what I'm saying? Like, there's not enough of us in position to do that for our community. And it's nobody's fault but our own, because we had that. And we freely gave it away.
And you could get it again.
Following these bootlickers who wanted nothing more than white approval and white acceptance. And so I got a major issue with them.
Yeah, and identifying black people as victims. So how could a victim start a business and employ people, Curtis? Right? That's
look, listen.
Right?
That identifying people as a victim thing, that's the only leverage they have now. So that's what they're going to use. I call it the victim Olympics, you know. I think there are black people who are victims of various things, victims of each other, victims of the police, victims of racism or whatever. Me personally, I don't see myself as a victim. And, you know, some people would say, well, that's good for you, but the rest of us, whatever. I want to think that not seeing myself as a victim keeps me from being a victim.
Absolutely.
I could be wrong, but that's what I think. Know, because look, man.
100%.
I don't wake up every day thinking about white people, bro. I wake up.
Oh, now I'm upset. No, you don't think about me when you get up in the morning. You don't think about me when you get up. God damn, Curtis.
White people don't live rent free in my head, man. I think about what I need to do and my people, man, and being there for my people. I've said this before. One of my favorite movies of all time is Lawrence of Arabia with Peter O'Toole. It came out in 1963.
Yeah.
Epic film. But one of my favorite character in that movie was played by Anthony Quinn, right? And his name was Aouda Hawitat. And he was a brigand. He was a rogue, a leader of a Bedouin tribe.
Right.
But he used to rob people and do all kinds of stuff. And when they confronted him about him being a thief and all that, because he had a strong following, there was a scene in the movie, he said, I am a river to my people. And that's how I see myself, a river to my people, right? And that's all that matters, man. Like, you got to be able to take care of your own, man. I'm not coming out here and begging you to take care of my responsibilities or anybody else. I wouldn't feel like a man. And they want to normalize that type of behavior, which is why they keep redefining what masculinity is. They want to make it okay for you to be a bitch. And a lot of times, right, people like to say beta males, but I don't like that saying, because real beta males are just alphas in training. They're waiting for the alpha to die, and a beta will emerge and be the alpha. See, these guys aren't beta males. They're fucking bitches, man. They want to get pregnant like Mark Lamar Hill. You understand? They bleed once a month like Mark Lamar Hill. These guys aren't betas. This is a disrespect to a true beta male. A beta ain't nothing but an alpha in training. A beta's waiting for his number to get called. He's watching, he's studying the alpha, and he's waiting for his day.
Yeah.
These guys aren't betas.
It's so interesting. Mark Lamont Hill, as you were talking, and basically, you're sort of talking about how they hate black people essentially, or at least like the black people who are underneath them,
Yes,
which is most black people, because you know, in
of course.
right.
Yes,
So, but
yes.
I was thinking about this thing that Mark Lamont Hill said once. I was watching his show, and this was like I think during the Rachel Dolezal stuff, right?
Oh, geez.
Right.
Yeah,
So
go ahead. Look.
so here's Mark Lamont Hill. Here's the whole thing was he said this. I'll never forget it. He said, "Why on earth would you want to be black? Why on earth? It's the worst thing to be."
Yeah, he was talking from his heart.
I was like, whoa, what do you mean? I can think of a few things, you know, like to say on behalf.
Look, he was talking from the heart, man.
Wow, that was revealing.
Do you know he went to Morehouse, right?
Yeah.
Check this out. And Morehouse is an all boys school. I think Dr. King went there. A lot of notable blacks
Killer
in the
Mike
past went to Morehouse.
Killer Mike went there.
He stayed there for a little bit. He didn't graduate from it, but they I think Bill Cosby's son went there. Bill might have went there. Who knows? But a lot of prominent blacks went to Morehouse. Sure. But around about 2009, they had to implement a dress code at Morehouse because the male students were overwhelmingly dressing in women's clothing.
What?
Oh, yeah. And Mark Lamont Hill was advocating for them to dress in women's clothing.
What?
Right? Yeah. And I have a theory on why that happened. You see, typically the black elite would send their kids to HBCUs and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I think the psychological capitulation led to psychological emasculation that led to actual physical emasculation. You see, we are what we do, us humans, right? Evolution is our bodies simply adapting to the environment that we are in. So if you are subservient, your DNA is constantly adjusting to make you a good servant. And after a couple generations, you're the most docile, weak motherfucker that you could be. You understand? And that's who these people have become. They are unfit and unworthy to lead a man like me anywhere. They have no fire. They have no backbone. They have nothing. I call them intellectual eunuchs, which is ironic because they indulge in a lot of intellectual masturbation. It's just ridiculous, man. It's like, look, like shit.
Can a eunuch masturbate? Damn. I don't
know. Exactly. That's why I said it's ironic.
I don't know.
Look, man. It's just weird, man. It's weird watching all of these people get paraded in front of the camera and being taken seriously by everybody. Not just black people, but everybody. Like, who gives a fuck what this bozo got to say?
Like LeBron James. Like, why is he a political expert all of a sudden, right? It's ridiculous. He's a jock. He doesn't know shit.
As I pointed out in my article.
I know. He doesn't know a fucking thing.
He has a boule tattoo on his chest.
Oh, shit. What's that?
That's the symbol for the black elite, the boule. He has the lion on his head.
Oh, it's a lion?
It's a lion with his paw on a globe, like, yeah.
Oh, shit.
And he has it. Watch him. Before the game, he makes all kinds of signs and all this shit while let's say the lights, but you know when they line up? Watch him. He's doing all kinds of different things, sending little signals and all that. And he doesn't have a college education, but as I explained in detail, the celebrity are the new black elite. There was a time the black elite had to be educated and present as knockoff white elite.
Yes.
They don't need that anymore.
Right.
Look, man, we've put the crown on clowns for so long that we've turned the whole community into a circus in the black community, man. This is what has happened. So now you got a guy like LeBron James. I don't even know if he could, he poses with a Malcolm X book. I don't know if he even read that joint. You know what I mean? Like, yo, look, and all the celebrities, whether it be a D.L. Hughley, they even got my man Dave Chappelle now.
I know.
He's gone woke. I didn't like to see that, you know, because Dave Chappelle, he knows what's going on. I'm sure they all do. But because they want to make money doing bullshit, essentially, telling jokes, playing sports, that's not like real productivity. That's not real productive stuff. To me, that's like getting paid to have fun, which is a privilege. You know what I mean? Like, because the rest of us, we got to come out here, and I don't have a 9-to-5 per se, but I got to put my money on the line. Don't nobody support anything I do. Do you know I don't have, but I work with Coleman Alexander Young in Detroit, the son of the first Black mayor.
Yep.
And he has a STEM program that I direct. And I can tell you it's very hard to get funding for the STEM program. Meanwhile, there's all kinds of programs for girls. There's a math camp at Princeton. NASA has a space camp for girls. We're talking to some people now that want to give us money if we can get Latino girls into the STEM program. Oh. Nobody cares about Black boys.
Black boys, really?
Because nobody cares about Black men.
Damn.
And we've been undermined and cut off at the knees. You know, when I talk about the war on Black manhood, a lot of white guys like to say it's a war on all manhood. And that might be true. But you're not as vulnerable as the Black man is. Mm-hmm. White men still have options. They still have resources. They still have a lot of their white women that's supporting them. The white elites, through these bootlicking Black Negro wranglers, have weaponized the Black woman against Black men. Mm-hmm. If you really take a look around the country, they're always pushing all these Black women mayors. In most cases, they're either not with a man or they're not with a Black man. And what's the importance of that? Because it's designed to make sure that a Black man is excluded from spaces of influence. It has nothing to do with me not liking interracial relationships or anything. It's a diabolical plan against me. And I am keenly aware of it. So yes, when white men tell me, man, it's a war against all men. Okay, cool. But I'm very sensitive to the specific precision attacks against me. And it's so blatant. And what makes it worse is that leading up to this, we've been relegated to being deadbeat dads and super predators and just problems altogether, which almost makes no one have sympathy for us.
Until you get shot by the cops, though. Then
the same people show up and use our death as political currency to advance their agenda. Okay. You think about it. You got the death of Trayvon Martin and Michael Brown. Mm-hmm. Regardless of what you think about either one of them, those were two Black males, not homosexuals, not transsexuals, none of that. It forms an organization called Black Lives Matter is formed based on the death of Black heterosexual men. There was an article in the Atlantic that stated from 1980 to 2013, there was 262,000 Black men murdered in America, right? That's more fatalities than every war and military conflict post-World War II combined.
That's just...
Okay?
Jesus.
Listen, so when somebody's trying to be all-inclusive, look, man, this pain that I'm carrying, it's the same, and I'm not trying to get the gold medal in the Victim Olympics here, but it's the same pain that the next man is carrying times 10, bro. Because as a Black man, we catching it from everywhere, from each other, from our women, from the police, from whoever, all at once. It's tough, man. And I happen to have been fortunate enough to somehow navigate that by the grace of God. You understand what I'm saying? And I feel now at this point in my life, it is my duty to throw the rope back and try to save as many as I can. Because the reality is, you rebuild a Black man, you rebuild a Black family. You rebuild a Black family, you rebuild the Black community. You rebuild the Black community, you rebuild the Black nation. So it all starts with the Black man, and the enemy knows this, which is why he targets us. They're trying to decimate us. They're pushing us to extinction. They're making it a viable option for our women. They're going to breed us out of this motherfucker, man. Like, yo, it's terrible. It's fucking terrible. And I see it. It's diabolical, man. It's fucking diabolical. One of the main things with this whole LGBTQ thing is it is non-life reproducing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. People don't get that. If all the gays and trans and all these people just went off and lived somewhere by themselves, in 50 years, there'd be no more of them. True. Because contrary to what Mark Lamar Hill says, men cannot get pregnant. Right. You understand? So this thing, it perpetuates itself through conversion, through social engineering, through normalization. It's the only way it can sustain itself. And who does it target first and foremost? The most vulnerable and weakest among us, who have no options of survival but what is presented to them. No one knows this better than the white elites. Look at Ed Buck and what he had those young Black men doing for $300 fucking in his house. He killed 2 of them. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. With his weirdo, sick, deviant ass, taking pictures of them in long johns and rain boots, and they subjected themselves to that because they already fucked in their head. $300 was nothing. What they really wanted was to be close to white daddy. That's what they wanted. They wanted that bad, and they got it to the point where it killed them. There's the playwright Jeremy O. Harris, I believe is his name. He had the play Slave Play that they was all talking about. Nobody went to see that bullshit. And in it, they're sodomizing the Black slaves and all kinds of shit. This is his sick fantasy. He has another play called Daddy about a gay young Black guy who meets a white sugar daddy at a museum looking at art. This is what they're obsessed with. Are you fucking kidding me? These people cannot speak for me. They can speak for themselves. I got nothing. Look, man, if they formed an organization that called it Black Gay Lives Matter, and they went about, lobbying, and more power to them. But you cannot wait for somebody that looks like me to get killed and act like you're like me when you know you're not. And use my trauma as political currency to advance your agenda. No bueno. That can't go.
Man, that was epic right there. I am processing it right now, but just a lot of people may
I'm giving you more than what you bargained for.
I love it. Look, I was going to go in a different direction, but this is even better. So
keep going, man. Whatever.
No,
I can go all day. Look,
beautiful. It's beautiful. It's perfect. No, some people may not be aware that the kind of the most famous BLM activists, I think, are almost all gay. I don't know.
Women. Yeah, Black.
Yeah, well, there's DeRay who's gay, right?
But he was a former member. Somehow somebody put him in place, right?
Well,
and you gotta think about this. 3 women started Black Lives Matter.
Right. And
in one of those articles I wrote, it's all in there, the 3 names, but the 3 women started Black Lives Matter. And 2 of them are open lesbians.
Right.
The other one I suspect is, very discreet, doesn't want to discuss her lifestyle, which is cool. And it was a hashtag, but originally the hashtag came from a guy in LA and they co-opted it. See, here is the murky part. All of these people, I think, are being propped up by elements high within government. These are subversive groups, controlled opposition, as I called them in my piece. Mm-hmm. They're designed to create chaos. And out of chaos will always come a new order. You know what the Hegelian dialectic is.
Yeah.
Problem, reaction, solution.
Yep.
thesis, antithesis, synthesis.
Synthesis.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, so, yo, man, this is not just happening by chance. And I just don't want people who are in opposition of all of this stuff to simply see the black faces and be like, man, these black people are causing a lot of trouble. No, there hasn't been a black movement in this country with major appeal that wasn't funded by some kind of white organization, government agency, or whatever. Yo, man.
That goes all the way back to the abolitionists, right? Who were mostly Frederick Douglass was published by abolitionists. Like every slave narrative was published by white abolitionists. Every single one of them was written probably by white abolitionists. A lot of these famous slave narratives were written by white people. People don't know that either.
Come on.
And you got the NAACP founded by white people. I mean,
Joel Spingarn, and it was
Joel
military intelligence division, the forerunner to the CIA. He was the first chairman of the board. Yo, he was a fucking spy, man. Look, man, Stanley Levinson
King's advisor. Yep.
He wrote the fucking I Have a Dream speech. They say he co-wrote it. I think he wrote the whole fucking thing, man. You understand? And not only that, what people don't know is that he was on the defense team of Ethel and Julius Rosenberg, who gave the A-bomb to the Soviet Union.
Oh, yeah.
So he was an avowed communist.
Yeah, capital C. Yeah, capital C, real communist. Yeah.
Yo, man. Yeah. And when you watch the civil rights movement, and when you watch us, and I'll tell you what, as a black man, why I don't really hold that against King and them, I do hold against them their intentions, but I know that I can't imagine what it was like to be black in the Jim Crow South.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of things that we take for granted now, man. You know, Strom Thurmond, remember him?
Sure.
You know he had a black daughter, right?
I heard rumors.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
You know who the mother was? She was a young black girl that used to come to his house to clean the house. So he was maybe in his early 20s, and she might have been about 17. Do you think she could have told him no? Do you know how many young black women had that experience in those days and nothing could be done about it? Do you know how many black men back then would send their wife off to work, and their wife would have to keep that secret to her grave, not to embarrass her husband? The kind of shit that black people have been put through by racist white people is real and should not be discounted. You don't have to go all the way back to slavery. And I don't bring that up to say anybody owe us anything. They do owe us something. There's some consideration here that, you know what? A lot of effort and energy was put into fucking these people up. So if they're not up to speed, we're going to have to work with them, because that fucking residue from that trauma for generations, that shit is real. Now, why I don't give a fuck, I can't tell you. You understand what I'm saying? But I look at some people, man, and the average white person don't understand what it's like to be to every authority figure in your life.
Oh yeah.
To be white.
Oh yeah.
From your teacher to your priest to the cop to the judge to the lawyer to everybody
white.
Who is white.
Yeah.
Even if they're good white people, right?
Also, it
registers a certain way in your fucking head, man.
I was also going to say, I've said this many times, poor and working class black people in this country are essentially wards of the state. And the state is obviously mostly white. So the social workers in your mom's house, that she's white.
They're deciding if you can get this place. Please, Miss Jenkins, could you help us? We need a bigger place because my daughter's she's pregnant and we're going to need a room for the baby. All this shit. So they're always looking to white people for help. And they also looking to avoid white people from being punished. This is the experience of a lot of Black people. And I don't think the average white person understands this. But conversely now, if you're a white person and all you ever see is Black people in a destitute state or in a criminal state on the news for doing this, that, and the third, or you see the shysters and the Al Sharptons, how is that registering with you? Because you're being affected psychologically as well. And see, we got to be aware of these things. Self-awareness is a motherfucker, man, and we all need it. Look, man, if Black people have an inferiority complex, and a lot of us do, it could only fuel a superiority complex in some white people. If automatically our default setting is that you're better than me because of your race. You can't tell me it. Man, for every action, there's an equal and opposite fucking reaction.
Wow. I remember I was a professor for a long time at Columbia and elsewhere. And when I was at Columbia.
You were a professor?
Yeah, for 25 years. I was at Columbia.
Yeah, my man Dutch graduated from Columbia.
Yeah. And then so when I was teaching there, I had a graduate student course on, you'll love this, African American history, Curtis. That's what I taught. Yeah. And so I had two people showed up for it was like a seminar for graduate students at Columbia, right? This is a big. Yeah. So the only two people who showed up were these two Black guys because they thought I was Black because of my name. Thaddeus, I gotta tell you, man, when I saw your face, I was like, oh shit. I know, happens all the time. So they did the same thing. They were like, they told me like we had a great time, it was really good, but like after a few weeks, we were totally like on the same track and everybody was happy. But they told me then they admitted, they're like, yo, man, listen, we got to admit to you, when we first saw you, we were really disappointed because we were sure you were Black, but it's cool.
I wasn't disappointed. I just said, "Oh shit, he's white." But
the most like one of the most amazing moments in that course, and we just met in my office for like 3 months doing the course, and we would talk about all kinds of stuff, not just Black history. But one of the guys, at one point he said, yeah, I just always feel like I'm lesser than white people. And this is a dude getting a PhD at Columbia, right?
Most Black people do.
He's a very talented guy, obviously, right? Yeah. Lashane Lindsay. Yeah. And he went through it. He said, yeah, I just feel it in my bones. It's like automatic. I can't control it. I always feel like I'm just like less than, I'm not as smart as, I'm not as good as, I'm not as talented. And I thought that's, I mean, this is 20 years ago, but like at the time I thought, what the fuck? Because we walk around, especially white men, I think, thinking Black dudes generally, not all, but like generally are like kind of better than us in some ways, like we want to kind of beat them in some ways, right?
You never know.
I was like, what do you mean? Like, I feel inferior to you, man. Cause I'm like, but when he said that, it clicked. I was like, oh damn, you've been so stupid in thinking that, because of course that's got to happen, because everything, and including and maybe especially the liberal establishment and its discourse and the way it talks about Black people, that's going to actually tell you again that you are a slave, because that's what they talk all day. Black people are slaves still, right, in the minds of the white liberal. Because you notice when something bad happens to a Black person now, what do they talk about? They talk about slavery. Oh my God, this is just like slavery. Oh, this is just like Jim Crow. I said, really? Because that doesn't seem to, getting shot by a cop is the horrible thing, is terrible, and I'm all against it, but it has nothing to do with slavery and Black people. Yeah. So it's this perpetual, victimhood, inferiority complex, like you said, but it's a powerful thing that I guess I just have to like recognize that as a thing.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I'll tell you, I'll add one caveat to that, right? Here it is. That brother, I don't know him, but I suspect it's because he's also never experienced any power in his life.
Right.
See?
Right.
So, and I have though. See? And so I understand power to the degree. What power is simply control. Mm-hmm. See? Power isn't about how smart you are, although being smart can help you maintain your power. You know, it will help you maintain your power. But power is about control. And far too often, in my opinion, Black people, either through false information or poor values, we pursue money. We equate money with power, but money does not necessarily give you power, but power will give you money and anything else you want. You understand? And because we don't really have an understanding of power, because most of us have never really experienced any power.
Right.
It's not something that we pursue.
Did you see that? Did you see that statistic that came out? I don't know if you know Sandy Darity on Twitter, but
I don't know.
He's a Black professor, I think at Duke or UNC, but he did some research and he found he did research on wealth, the wealth held by Blacks and whites. And I forget the numbers, but the average white family, it's like in the many thousands of dollars, like in terms of like their assets, total wealth, right? And for Black,
I had that before. I think like 100 and something thousand combined household income, 30,000 or some stupid shit like that.
And for Black people, it was the average was like less than $100 or something insane. Like,
I don't believe those. I
was wondering
those surveys, right?
Okay.
I think Black people, generally speaking, may earn less money, right? And there may be a number of reasons for that. I just don't like to sum everything up to race.
Okay.
Although I wouldn't doubt that race plays a role in some cases because we're a big country, man. We got 350 million people. There's enough opportunity to find any incident to support any view that you have. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's that many people here that if you have a certain view, you can dig and you won't have to dig long to find some kind of supportive incident. But I think one of the biggest things value-wise, and I'm afraid to say culturally, is that we substitute spending for earning. Like, for us, if I buy a new car, it's progress, but it's really debt. If I buy a new house, it's progress, but it's really debt. If I go on a vacation, it's progress. Hey, look at me, everybody, I'm over here in Maui, but it's really debt. Right. You understand what I'm saying? And ultimately, debt is the currency of slaves, because now you are indebted to someone and you have to get out there and work even when you don't want to.
Right.
So people mortgage their future in a lot of ways. That's how the subprime loans, people who shouldn't have had homes, not just Black people either. You know what I mean? Went and put themselves in debt because that's how they made themselves feel like, you know what, I'm moving up in life. And I think a lot of that comes from a lot of debt. A lot of us are leveraged because of poor financial choices, not simply because we don't make as much money.
Yes.
You know, like, there's a lot of spending going on.
Yeah.
America as a whole, and I don't want to just single out Black people for this, but consumerism is what keeps this whole economy going. You know, and the constant, now it went from credit to stimulus to credit. It's just that you got to keep them spending, because if they don't spend, the whole bottom falls out.
Right.
And I don't know what's going to happen to the country as a whole. What the period that we have to go through to correct this thing is going to be really hard on some people.
I know. Oh, it could be a catastrophe. I'm scared.
What? You and me both, man. Like, it could be the fucking end, man.
I know.
You know, like it's tough, and that's the bigger issue, and all this other racial shit and all that is like a distraction. What I want to do when I focus on racial matters in the Black community is try not to see too many of us go down with this shit. You know, like, yeah, I just, because I the way I see, and I don't have a scientific survey, but the way people are caught up in this celebrity worship, translating to celebrity emulation, spending money on things they don't need, and just to post on Instagram and shit like that and go into debt. It's going to wipe out a lot of people, man, like from the student loans and everything afterwards.
Yep.
And those are the people within the community. Those aren't even like the dregs. Those are the people who should have been our potential future, and they're squandering it like that because they're being misdirected and distracted. And I despise people who do that for that reason, because I think they're gonna facilitate our very extinction as a people. That's how I see it, man.
Could be. That's totally plausible. All right, back to your life, and then we're gonna finish.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So we had you in 1988 going to Hampton University, but you dropped
86, out. I went to Hampton. 86, I went to Hampton. 87, I dropped out. Yes.
Okay, you dropped out after 1 year, even though you were meeting all these people who, and one of them is still your business partner, right? Like you've met all these people.
Yeah, I stayed friends with them. Yeah.
But you met all these people who were very different, who were like on their way to something interesting, important. You could have stayed, but you chose to do something. You chose to commit a crime.
I was 22.
I know.
I caught a federal case in DC. Then they turned around and sent me back to New York, told me I check in at Cadman Plaza in Brooklyn once or twice a week to make sure that I wasn't traveling out of state.
What was the charge?
My co-defendant in the it was conspiracy.
To do what?
It was conspiracy to distribute drugs, right?
Okay.
And I beat that case too. I've never been arrested with drugs in my possession, a gun, firearms, nothing.
Really? Wow.
No contraband.
Okay.
Nothing. Always on the testimony of somebody else that never held up. I've never.
Okay. So why did you leave Hampton? Why didn't you stay there? Because you obviously had the mind for it.
I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
1986, remember, I went to trial.
Yeah.
Okay. I stayed out pending appeal. In 4th of July weekend, 1987, I was in DC jail. When I got out of there, I said, fuck school. I said, I'm going to jail and I got to get as much money as I can because I got to pay lawyers and stuff like that. And school wasn't that important. By September, I found out that the case that I appealed was overturned. And then I had put some things together in New York and I was making some money back up there because I had to stay in New York pending the case in DC. That case ended up getting dismissed because there was a lot of rickety circumstances that really they shouldn't have arrested me in the first place.
Okay.
But they was desperate. They made a quick move and I was lucky. And anyway, and in 1987, December of 87, my friend that I told you about earlier, he got killed, Juan. Mm-hmm. And that put in place another chain of events. Like for me, the streets, I don't want to say it wouldn't let me go. I don't think I was ready to let the streets go. At the age of 20, I was ready to go to prison for 10 years at any given moment. Mm. I was ready. I had my mind made up like, fuck it, I got 10 in me, let's go.
Wow.
Right? By the time I turned 30, that number dropped to 5. By the time I turned 32, I said, yo, I ain't got no time in me. And the thing is, you got to be honest with yourself, man. If you know you can't do no time, you shouldn't be doing no crime. Let me say that. Forget all the activism and all the, again, like I'm not judging anybody. If you fucking talk the talk, you got to walk that fucking line, man. I don't want to hear nothing afterwards. You made that choice. You made your bed. You lay in it like the old people used to say. Yeah. See, and I was always ready to lay in the bed that I made. You understand? Mm-hmm. And when I realized, when I told myself I don't want to lay in that bed, then I stopped doing things to put me in that bed. It was really that simple for me.
Okay.
And also, I want to add this for me as a young man. You may have picked up on it a little bit in this conversation. I'm a bit of an action junkie, right? Oh, man, when there's storms and shit, I love it.
Oh, me too. Big,
extreme
weather. I love extreme.
Yes.
I love
it. I'm at peace in that shit. You understand?
Yeah,
so that tells me something.
I love a storm.
When I see the clouds and everything,
I love it.
I'm like, yes, come on with it, right? So
I love it. Me too.
Like Apocalypse Now. I love the smell of napalm in the morning. You understand? But and when I got my fill of the action, and also I thought I was seeking camaraderie, a way to demonstrate my valor, integrity, and all these things. None of it was motivated by money, believe it or not. I got a sharp mind, man. I can make money doing anything, right? You understand what I'm saying? But it wasn't motivated by money. It was like I had something to prove, not to people, but to myself.
Okay.
And once I understood and learned who I was and what I was capable of, it was mission accomplished. And I did what I was supposed to do. And that was it. And I was ready to move on, man. You understand?
And, yeah, I do. And you made a decision to move into filmmaking at some point early on, right?
Well, yes. In 2000 in 2000, I finished my first script. It was called Fall from Grace.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any money at that time, but you couldn't get me to do anything illegal. I'm very disciplined, super. You know what I mean? I don't drink, don't smoke, don't do any of that shit. You know, and I wrote my first screenplay, and then people read it and they liked it, and they asked me to write something about Fat Cat. And that's Lorenzo Nichols, the infamous with the Edward Byrne killing in New York and all that. I knew his son, and I got to talking to him, and I wrote the script. And as soon as I finished that script, I got accused of killing Jam Master Jay.
Okay. Oh.
I finished that script on October 15, 2002, and I got accused of killing Jay. Jay got killed on October 30th, and I went from writing movies to being in one. You know what I mean? Because it felt like a goddamn movie to me. I'm like,
a movie that took 18 years to end, right? Like
So that was it. Then surprisingly, there was some other things. I think Tenard Ronald Washington was arrested, and he had said some things to the police, none of it implicating me. Playboy magazine had a subscription you could submit an article to. I emailed them and told them I don't have an article, I got something better. My name is Curtis Scoon. I was accused of killing Jam Master Jay. I haven't talked to anybody, not even the police, but I'll talk to you. The features editor, Chris Napolitano, got back to me. Him and I went back and forth a little bit on email. Then we got on the phone, and he said, "Look, Curtis, I want to do this story, but I think you're the best person to pitch it." So he put together the call, had me with all the big wigs from Playboy, and I pitched the story on the phone. At the time, I was aware they were looking to expand into the urban marketplace. They wanted to do a story on a singer named Blue Cantrell. So having knowledge of this in my conversation, I broke down everything with Jay, with me, and so on and so forth. And I told him, I said, listen, if you want to get in the urban marketplace, this story is going to do that for you way better than Blue Cantrell ever did. She never made it into the magazine. I did, and I did 1,000 words sidebar as well. I had never written anything for anybody in my life. And my first piece was in Playboy magazine. And from there, Frank Owen, who was the author, he wanted to do a book because he saw how I could get people to talk to him on record. See, a lot of white writers and stuff, they can't really get in the hood because, again, people aren't going to talk to them unless somebody like me come in. I took Frank to the hood a year after Jay was dead in Hollis, put him in the barbershop, and made people sit down and talk to him. I'd see them and call them off the street, yo, come talk to this guy. And they had to talk to him, and they talked to him. So he wanted to pitch a book, but he offered me 10% royalties on the back end, knowing full well that all he was going to get was the advance and I wasn't going to get anything. He also offered me to crash on his couch while we worked on the book in New York. Me, a grown man, I was 39 at the time.
Oh, shit.
You know what I mean? These people are fucking offensive, but I don't say anything. I understand. I understand it. So I reached out to Ethan Brown. Ethan took my Playboy article and he pitched it. He used me and the Playboy article and got his very first book deal. That book is Queen's Reign Supreme, The Rise of the Hip Hop Hustler. I named the book, I outlined it and everything. I was going to tie the history of Queens with the streets because everybody was into the streets at that time. And I wanted to tie it into hip hop, tie the streets into hip hop. I used that as a way to raise the profile of Fat Cat so I could sell the movie that I wrote. I called it Queen's Reign Supreme because KRS-One, who came out making his name dissing Queens with the bridges over, his name is Knowledge Reigns Supreme.
Right.
So my response to him was, no, Queen's Reign Supreme. You understand what I'm saying? And that's why the title of the book is Queen's Reign Supreme.
That's just so people don't know, that's a Bronx Queens beef right there.
Yes, Bronx Queens beef. Yeah, I'm the sole contributor. ICM was the talent agency. I negotiated my own deal. I got 25% of the gross across the board as the contributor, right? Yeah. And last but not least, I made ICM responsible to cover my portion. I said, when Ethan gets paid, are you going to wait for him to cut your 10% check? They said, no. I said, well, I don't want to wait for him to cut my 25% check either. And I was the only arrangement like that up at ICM because normally the contributor gets his money from the author. But I had ICM take the money. See, because I understand power and leverage, and I was not going to have Ethan having all that power over me, where I had to be like, so dude, you got my money, Ethan? And asking kindly, man, get the fuck out of here. Where's my money? You understand? And that's that. From the book, it turned into American Gangster.
The TV
series.
The TV series in the 2000s. Yep.
Correctamundo. Yep. See, so the next thing is that American Gangster, they wanted to make a series about Black gangsters and so on and so forth. The production company, Asylum Entertainment out there in Cali, had a deal through Nelson George with BET to air it on Black Entertainment Channel because us Black folk, we love our gangsters, our urban legends and so on and so forth. Sure. So anyway, the book, they talked to Ethan, but he didn't really know much about anything because of course it was my idea, my relationships and my everything. And that's not to take anything away from Ethan. The book couldn't have gotten done without him. I just wish that he had recognized what a great symbiotic relationship we had, because if we had stayed like that, we could have gone far. But he was inexperienced as well. Just because he's Jewish doesn't mean that he's well versed in worldly. You understand what I'm saying? So he did what most people do. He got excited, thought he was on his way, and forgot who brought him to the fucking dance. You know what I mean? So, when they talked to him at American Gangster, they were unimpressed with him. They talked to me. I got a job as a consultant. I was more interested in promoting Fat Cat. In the first episode, first season, I worked as a consultant on the Fat Cat episode. I did that because I wanted to raise the profile of the script that I wrote, because I wanted to get a movie deal. I was just thinking movie. Right. They only paid me $2,000. I got on camera and everything. But I told them not for $2,000 or $20,000 could I do it, because I needed to protect Fat Cat's reputation. There was some question marks about Fat Cat and what he'd done and so on and so forth. And I wanted to make sure we stayed away from that. It would affect his marketability, and it would prohibit him from even participating in it unless I could get the guarantee. So the money was of no consequence to me. They said, listen, if we give you that, that would be like giving you editorial control. I said, that's a small concession to make for all I'm going to give you in return.
Yeah.
They gave me the letter. You see, that's why they wanted me to be a lawyer. You understand?
Yeah, I was gonna
Like,
say.
look,
Exactly.
so they gave me the letter. I sent it to Cat. He was in Dannemora, in Clinton Dannemora in prison, where he is to this day.
Wow.
And he gave the green light. And I put together a mean episode. I was on camera and everything. Season 2, I did the Supreme McGriff episode about the Supreme Team and Murder, Inc. I did that. I was a co-producer, not a consultant. And season 3, I did the Jamaican Shower Posse episode. I was a producer. So without ever going to school for journalism or filmmaking, production or anything, I did all of those fucking things. You know, so if you wanna ask me, like, yo, how'd you do it? The truth of the matter is I'm a bad motherfucker, man. But I don't say that too often. You understand what I'm saying? But I tell myself that every day. And that's why I don't feel like a victim. That's why I don't feel inferior to anybody, because I got points on the board, man. I've done things. I've beaten the odds. I'm in court. Wherever I go, I rise to the fucking, I ain't gonna say the tip top, but I'm never at the bottom, Jack. You understand what I'm saying? And for my demographic, oh yeah, I'm always near the top, for sure.
Definitely.
But I'm not happy. I'm not happy with that. So from there, I did that, and then I discovered Twitter. So what am I going to do now after 3 years? I'm spending a lot of time on Twitter. I did that Storyfy, that tweets, the Storyfy you talked about. It was called Scoon TV. That's why my handle now is Scoon TV. That's why my website is Scoon TV, because that's when I made my splash. And I realized, man, they really wanted to know about me. I think my story is fascinating, but I don't like to tell it like that all the time. Everybody around me who really knows me tell me, look, man, you got to write a book, man. Because if I write that book, nobody will believe it, but there'll be so many people who could testify to it. You know, the shit that I did, the shit that I survived, the attempts on my life, all of these things. It's like, it's man, you would think it was fiction, but it's real. I told myself that I'm going to write my life, but I'm not going to publish it. I'm going to leave it for my kids to do whatever they want to do with it after I'm gone.
Really?
Because I don't want to deal with that while I'm alive. I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
I can understand.
I would write it all down because I'm a truth teller. I'm not going to leave anything out. And the truth is going to hurt people who I like. You know what I mean? But the truth is the fucking truth. So I don't need the money that bad to throw people under the bus. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. But I would wait. I would write that fucking book and tell it like it really is and leave it for my kids. And if they want to burn it, they could burn it. And if they need some money, they could go ahead and publish it and put it out there. But I don't need no money from that shit, man. I'm good. You understand? So yeah, so I did the Twitter thing, School TV. That's when I started getting political, because all of these donkeys were attacking me for speaking up about, and I know the streets. I've had cuffs on. I've been beaten by police. I've had cops lie under oath against me on the stand. Like, this ain't shit I studied in a classroom. I lived through this shit. I am not mad at police. I understand why they do certain things, but the same rule applies to them. If you do wrong and you get caught, motherfucker, deal with it. I don't want to hear no excuses. You understand what I'm saying? Like, yo, because I couldn't, if I was a cop, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'd be fucking people up if I was a cop. What? I'd bust their fucking ass, yo. Because I'd bust their ass right now. You think I'm gonna change because I'm a cop? You understand what I'm saying? Like, I am not fit to be a police officer. You understand what I'm telling you that.
You'd be worse than Derek Chauvin.
Yo, you see what I'm saying? Look, I ain't gonna deal on nobody. My thing is, I'm gonna give a couple jabs. He tried to do the passive shit and kill somebody. I would outright whoop their ass, man. They would know when they see me coming. I'm not gonna put a knee on them or choke them. I'm gonna fuck them up. But anyway, so going back and forth with them, I was like, these people are disrespectful. But they motivated me, man. They motivated me to make my movie. Black, White, and Blue. That's the poster in the back right there.
Yeah.
Black, White, and Blue film.com. It's on Amazon. Just put my name in. Almost 5 stars on Amazon. 4.7 stars or something like that. They love that goddamn film. You understand? But no film festival took it.
It's
No
crazy.
film festival accepted it. And I funded that shit myself. I produced it myself, and Asia Nora, she directed it. The two of us did 85 to 90% of the work, a two-person crew. You know, when you look at all these other films, you will see 89, 92 people and so on and so forth. And I did all of that while running a business full time. Went all over the country and got footage and didn't make any money, but it raised my profile. And then the next step, I was like, what am I going to do next? So now I got a media platform, schoontv.com, with journalists and everything. I got published journalists writing for me, but I also write as well, because I'm well read and I know a lot of shit, man, and I could put it together. I speak fairly well, but I write even better, I believe. You know what I mean? So, and there it is, man. So that's what I'm doing. I'm fighting the good fight all the time on film with my news outlet and so on and so forth. While making that film, I encountered Coleman Young II. His father was the first Black mayor of Detroit. Yes, he's a Democrat. Yes, he's a progressive, but he's also someone I have a rapport with. And what he wanted to do was help the Black community. So rather than focus on the things that we differ on, my politics is different from his. I accentuate the things we have in common. I focus on that. You know what I mean? And he really wanted to help the people. In Detroit, man, it's like a third world city over there, an 86% Black city, and downtown is like 8 square miles, and the rest of the city is 132 square miles. And the rest of the city is like run the fuck down, abandoned buildings everywhere. And it's not right. And you could blame white people and racism for it, but the reality is Black politicians in that city did the Black people who voted for them very dirty. And if you don't take care of your own people and you don't care about your own people, why should the next person? You cannot hold white people to a higher standard than you hold yourself to. You just can't do it. You know what I mean? If you're respectful and loving of your community, you have every right to demand that from somebody else. But if you prey on your own community, why would the next person not do the same thing? And that is what has to be done. So yeah, that is, as fast as I can go, a synopsis of the things that I did and why I did it, you know. And anything else you want to know, let me know, man. Let's do it.
No, I want to tell you something about your film, Black, White, and Blue. Let me tell you something, Curtis. So my highest value is no political position. I have a lot of political positions, a lot of which I'm very passionate about, care a lot about, okay? But my highest value is openness to different ideas.
Yes.
You know where I'm going, right? Because
yes, sir.
Your movie is fucking unique in that it contains very deliberately a huge range of opinions, ideas, right? Positions about Black-white relations, about police brutality, about what you have a fucking white cop in the movie, you know, who like, and,
yes.
And it's not to throw bricks at him. It's to let him tell his story about what it's like to be a white cop in neighborhoods like that. Right. You have Killer Mike in there, who's got like very different. I mean, he's in some ways he plays the game of the progressives, but he's his own thinker. I know Mike.
Yes.
He's his own man, his own thinker, and he's got a lot of ideas that the liberals do not like about guns.
Yes.
But I mean, I know you wanted one of the things you hate about Black politics is the total lack of diversity of ideas, which, oh my, totally true. It's true elsewhere too, but certainly there. And your movie, to me, like that's just the fact that you went in with that like truly intellectual curiosity, just wanting to know the different ways of looking at these issues. That in itself is a revolutionary act. Don't you think?
Thank you, man.
I mean, that's a huge, you don't see that.
I tried.
Because everything else is propaganda. Everything else is, and it might be good propaganda. I might even agree with it, but it's not interested in exploring ideas and thinking through things. It's about like putting forth a particular argument or message and then sticking to that. You got this like intellectual soul in you, meaning just a love of ideas, right?
Look, man, if I'm being 100% honest, and I am, I'm not even really political, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. I just want the best, which is why I could work with a Republican, a progressive, or whatever. I just don't like the direction that the Democrats have gone lately. In 2008, I was as happy as any other black person that Barack Obama got elected. Whoops, maybe that's coming.
He might have been. I think he might have been arrested in a way. You know what I mean? Like,
look. But I was, man, and I just feel like right now, strong black men, true black men, have to take the reins and right the ship. And I'm trying to lead by example in my own way, by making more so than just going on a talk circuit and expressing my ideas. I'm doing it with my films and my media site and my writings and so on and so forth. I don't like the talking thing is cool, but I think there's a lot of people who got that covered. I don't just want to be another person on that tier. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
Everybody got to do what they do, man. And I think with the films and stuff, that movie, I never wanted it to be pro anything. I tried to I wanted to be as objective as possible, but I also wanted it to be real because some of the things that was said was a little inflammatory, you know what I mean? But if that's how people are thinking, well, let's have it. So we can at least be aware of it. You know what I mean? And look, man, that film was not accepted anywhere by anybody, yo. And then when you read the reviews, all the people who watched it loved it. Mm-hmm. So what was the problem with the film?
The people's reviews on Amazon, right?
The people's reviews, yes.
Right.
The customer reviews, let me say that. Yes.
The audience.
The audience reviews, they all loved it, man. And it's like, yo. And so what's the disconnect between the people, the audience, and the people who control the venues, the Sundance film festivals and what have you? It's because all of this shit is social engineering, man. It's all propaganda. It's all to control a narrative. There was a documentary called Hollywoodism that explained how people in the intelligence community utilized Hollywood in the early days to instill patriotism and so on and so forth. Right. It has never stopped. On a higher level, you have to realize that anything, I don't care if it's a sports, movies, colleges, anything that can influence thought has to be controlled and directed. Because if people are thinking for themselves, too many people are thinking for themselves, then the few cannot continue to rule over the many. You see, the few control the many by controlling their thoughts and creating chaos. And they're above the chaos. And they look down and they be like, boy, sure is noisy down there. And it's Black Lives Matter. Yeah, fuck Trump, MAGA. And it's all this noise down there. Like, and the people in the noise, they don't even realize what they subscribe to, man. You know, like, yeah. So, and you just got to be focused. Life is a hell of a thing, man. You got to play this thing from the neck up, not the shoulders down, man. And too many of us play it from the shoulders down, from our heart, our feelings, what we like. This ain't right. Everyone should have a right to this and that. Right. But no, they're not. The people who's running this motherfucker, they playing it from here, man.
Right. Yeah, we want all these things, but they never talk about how they're going to pay for them, right?
No, man. And it's all emotional.
Yeah, exactly.
You got a right to this. Okay, who gave you that right? Where's he at? Maybe he can give it to you. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we have a right to affordable health care. Okay, who gave you that right? Let's talk to him about that. You understand? Or you don't know who gave you that right. You just heard somebody say that, and you're repeating it. You understand? Shit. And life is competitive. Listen, I say it all. I use this analogy all the time. At the time of conception, our fathers ejaculated hundreds of millions of sperm cells. There was a race to the egg. You won. You beat out everybody else. Look. There was no participation trophies in that race. You understand? And that was the first of many races that you're going to have to win, my friend.
That's right.
You know, so look, you just
keep swimming.
Just keep swimming. You gotta keep stroking, man. Like, yo, what the fuck, man? There is no break, man.
Keep swimming.
There is no break, man. You gotta compete until you die.
Oh.
And again, I've run races and everything. I ran the Army 10 miler and the Cherry Blossom 10 miler in DC. I used to run it a couple of years. I stopped when I was like 49, right? But at the Army 10 mile, there was like 30,000 people in the race, right? And I came in like 6,000 and something place. And I was happy with that because I'm not a runner. But shit, it was 30,000 people. I beat 24,000 people, man. I did okay. I just started running. I'm not worried about those Ethiopians and Kenyans who were running barefoot and finished this fucking shit in no time. And they literally run barefoot, man. Like, yo, those fuckers really look. I'm not even trying to be funny. It's nothing like seeing those fuckers flying with those shoes on their feet. You'd be like, really? You know what I mean? Like, yo, like,
totally.
And I'm not competing with them. We're not in the same class. You understand? Yeah. I'm in the 6,000 class, and I'm good with that.
Would that cop say to you, "You're the one who got away"? Like,
I'm the one who got away, bro. You know, look, I'm the one who got away. That's what they tell me. The one who got away. You know, look,
but you got away. You got away by fighting and hustling. You're a hustler. You've been a hustler since you were a kid. Since you were a child, you were hustling, right? And,
no, man.
And you never quit. True
story, man. In the summer of '76, there's a guy that was friends with RUN-DMC. His name was White Boy Danny, right? He lived around the corner from me. White Boy Danny, and he's really white. The only white people in the neighborhood, right? Okay. His older brother was selling fireworks. Yeah, look. So everybody in the neighborhood used to buy fireworks from White Boy Danny's older brother. I can't even remember his brother's name. So I used to see the Chinese writing on the fireworks, and I used to try to find out, yo, where you get these fireworks from, man? You know, Chinatown, this thing. He was like, yeah. So I had a paper route at the time, which I wasn't supposed to have, but I finessed. That's another story, but because I was too young to deliver papers, right? But I say I had a little bit of money. I went to Canal Street, took the bus and 2 trains to buy fireworks, got off the train. I wasn't even 12 yet. And I'm in Chinatown walking around. I don't know where I'm going, but I want to buy a mat of firecrackers and a couple grosses of bottle rockets just to get started selling fireworks. And some white boys was there because Little Italy is next to Chinatown. So they called me. They're like, yo, you looking for fireworks? I was like, yeah. So they said, come on. So I'm in a parking lot with them. My first illegal transaction in the streets. I'm with these white dudes. I'm 11. They're about 15, 16 years old, and they're selling me the fireworks. And they said, we got bottle rockets, we got apple bombs, M80s, blockbusters, nigga chasers. And I'm sitting there, I said, look. and they meant no offense. You understand what I'm saying? They were just talking.
And you were like, I want to bulk order the nigger chasers right here. I want to get as many of those as possible.
Look, man, I'm like, all right, give me a mat of firecrackers and some bottle rockets. And that's when I started hustling in the street right then and there. That was my first transaction, man.
Damn.
In the summer of 1976.
11.
You understand? Yo, look.
11 years old.
11 years old. I took the bus and 2 trains.
Damn.
Yeah. Took the Q2 to 179th Street. Took the F train to Queens Plaza, and I think I got on the N train and rode it to Canal. Yeah. And went upstairs, and then I started knowing who to look for. You don't look for Chinese people, even though you got Chinese writing on the fireworks. You look for the white boys, and that's and I started dealing it right there. By the time I became about 14, I was the neighborhood fireworks supplier every year. Like White Boy Danny's brothers had stopped. This is something you do just for a couple of years, and then you outgrow that shit. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Excuse me. Well, when they stopped, I took over.
Damn. As a kid, you're still a child.
As a kid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was still a child. That's what I tell you. I was negotiating and everything, man. Like, and I was moving by myself. I got so many again with the newspaper thing. My classmate, his older brother was the paper boy on our block. Every time he come on the block, I couldn't even go off the block at that time, right? I mean, like for real. And I used to walk with him and talk with him, and he used to tell me how much he was tired and this, that, the other. And I was like, yeah. I said, look, I'll do my block. I know all the houses because I would walk with him every time, so I knew every house on the block. I said, give me $1.25 a week, and I'll meet you at the corner, and I'll do the papers on this block. So he did it. Then I told him, I'll do that block too for $2.25 instead of $2.50. Next thing, he gave me 4 blocks, introduced me to the manager, and told the manager he's underage, but he's been doing it for the longest. He knows what he's doing, and the customers know him. And that's how I started delivering papers, man.
Wow. Black market. Yeah. You were a black market entrepreneur, and you did that for a long time, and that's how you built yourself. And that takes intelligence, courage.
Yes, courage. Definitely the courage.
It takes discipline. It takes just so much work. You know, I mean, and you were
focus, man.
Focus. You were a businessman is the hardest part of it. Shit, like because I know that I'm a businessman. Like it's just insane how hard it is when you're
bro.
Yeah.
Yo, man, and nobody taught me how to do anything like that. You know, one of the other things. This is some of the stuff that I won't go into detail with, but I think is a painful part of my story because I started making so much money at such an early age that the adults in my life started treating me differently. And it caused me to almost like lose respect for them because they weren't really moving like adults anymore. You understand what I'm saying? I seen what poverty and need does to people, how it compromises their values and their morals and all of that. And that's a major part of why it's not designed for everybody to be successful, because successful people aren't controllable. It's desperate people who are controllable. So you have to be, you don't want to get them too desperate where they become dangerous, but just desperate enough that they're weakened and don't want to oppose you, and they're also hopeful that you do something for them, and then you can control them. And that's how the world has always been, in my opinion. You know, I say that the strong rule the weak, and the wise rule the strong. But blessed are we, both strong and wise, for we maintain an abundance of options. See, so I've learned to be multilingual in life. I'm a thinker, but I can get physical. I do it all, man. I do it all. I make money, so I don't have to beg or scheme on your money. I'm multi-talented with it. You know what I mean? And that puts me in a unique space, almost like a unicorn, so to speak, man, if I'm being totally honest.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's no one like you, I promise. I need you to make more movies, my friend. I need you to, because you got, and I think you're right. I think you're great on camera, but I think actually your highest value is behind the camera as a producer director. I mean, I think I agree. You've obviously have a crazy abundance of stories to tell.
Oh, super.
Not just yours, but other people's too.
Yes.
Right. You've told other people's stories too, but you've plenty of your own. What was I going to say? I mean, that's your natural talent. And I think you need to just be producing, thinking about, spending your energy, your mental energy on the storytelling, on the production, rather than what you're going to say in front of the camera.
Listen, man,
we need you for that.
Thank you.
Because there is nothing else. There's nothing out there that is a dissonant voice in all this. There's no dissident voice on these issues. And and it's not like you're just interested in like police brutality and that's your one issue. Another thing that happens all the time, you have ideas about everything from fucking, Palestine to what have we gone over? My goodness, we went over all kinds of issues, like, and from I think like an authentically not Black point of view, but from an authentically Curtis Scoon point of view.
Yes.
You're your own man, dude. And that's your own thinker. And just please keep doing it and producing.
Thank you, man.
You're welcome. And I want to thank you You just did a 3-hour interview with me.
Hey, man, look.
Damn.
With no notes, no prepping, no nothing.
We just did it. And there's so much more to be said too. My goodness, we
Yes.
could do this again, I hope.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Curtis, I appreciate this so much. I really do.
You got it, bro.
This has been a really like classic episode, and they don't go 3 hours unless I'm having a great time. So that's all you. And yeah.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. All right. We'll be in touch, I hope.
Okay, sir.
And I'll see you soon.
All right,
man.
cool.
All right. Bye-bye.
This is the Unregistered podcast, and I'm Thaddeus Russell. To join the new Renegade University, go to renegadeuniversity.com. To join the new Unregistered Underground, the supporting listeners group for the podcast, go to unregisteredunderground.com. Thanks for listening.